Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
DJ, what's up, man?
Yeah, CJ, thanks for joining, man. I think it was important. We tried to get people to join. Nose and Toes is going to come later,
Oh, cool.
but yeah, we kind of want to have some sort of like big ears report.
Yeah.
The big ears files. Thank you so much for joining.
Of
He
course.
doesn't look like his ears are that big.
Felipe's the one with the big ears right now.
There were people literally wearing like elf ears to prove that they had big ears. So there's some serious stupidity there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So how was it? I mean, I know it was amazing. I was talking to Ralph here. He just came back as well.
I saw Ralph. Yeah, we ran into Ralph while we were down there. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just going through the records that he brought from Chicago and from the whole trip. But yeah, he really enjoyed the shows. And yeah, what was your experience there? How is Big Ears like?
It is amazing. It is. I explained to a friend. It's like a music conference It's a conference for music nerds. I mean, it's just like everybody's there, super excited about the music. There's so many different kinds of music that are there. There are people there for country music that's ambient. There's people there for all different sorts of jazz. There are people there for kind of roots music, the explosions in the sky, and there's rock. There's straight up rock. So there's just a variety of different things that people can do at that show. The biggest challenge there is the competing shows. Two shows that you absolutely have to go see at the same time is one of the greatest challenges you run into there because there's just so much great music to see.
Yeah.
Now I've been to many festivals like Sundance and stuff. How early do shows start?
So the first day is a little bit later, but after that, the shows start at noon and go till after midnight. So
and do people play multiple times?
Some artists play multiple times. Some artists is just a single show. Like for example, Chris Davis was just a single show and she got out of there. But one of the things that's really cool is the artists hang out there a lot of them hang out there for the whole weekend and you run into them at the same shows. And so you'll see all these artists at the same shows that you're going to, and you can talk, and most of them are pretty approachable and you can talk to them.
Yeah. It was cool. We're actually talking about that today. And Ambrose, the Kimosher, he played 2 gigs, right? Solo one, and
Ambrose played a solo gig, and then there was a panel the next morning with Ambrose, with Nate Chinnon, and talking about that show, and then talking about the Winter Stone, Honey from a Winter Stone album, and then he did that album that night with Kokai, who I didn't realize was from DC, but that was an amazing show. That was just a phenomenal show. Kokai, understanding how seeing him rap live is unbelievable because he's altering pitch, he's altering tone, he's altering what he's saying, and it seems pre-composed, but it's all completely smooth live. I mean, it's unbelievable how he was able to execute on that.
Yeah. For the ones that had a chance to listen to Ambrose's new record with Kokai rapping, right? He raps like notes, sounds like an instrument. It's just amazing.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And he had a separate, and as an example of that, he performed there, and then he had a separate show, 12 noon, another day later in the week. So with his own band.
Yeah. And what were the highlights for you? What did you like the most?
The single most impactful moment with me was Ganavia singing with Emmanuel Wilkins on the Blues Blood album. When she also performed with Charles Lloyd, the tribute to Zakir Hussain, and that was beautiful and amazing. It was that Carnatic style singing where she was singing the lyrics of Zakir Hussain and kind of standing instead for him, and it was so beautiful. But with Emmanuel Wilkins, she's featured in one song, and when she let go, she was able to be completely free and completely let go in how she performed, and it was just made the hair stand. It still makes the hair stand on the back of my neck just thinking about that.
Yeah, she definitely has a voice, right? She sounds like that sunlight bursting through the clouds, right?
It was amazing. It was just, again, it's so emotional and so touching and so deep. It just really resonates with you. And that's the second time I've seen that show. I saw that show 2 years ago at New York Winter Jazz Fest, and I was lined up. I was first one in line to get there. The other thing that's funny about that show is they actually have somebody cooking on stage while they're performing. They make a soup of some sort. And so Emmanuel said it was originally about giving food to the community, but it became, what it does is it changes the experience for the musicians. For him, it reminds him of home, but it's, there's a thing about being hungry and how you perform when you're smelling stuff. And it just changed. He said it really changed the energy of the musicians when they perform.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
It is cool.
Well, that was pretty awesome. Anything that you missed that you like to have seen because of the overlaps?
Ambrose solo, I really would have wanted to see. Saw so much stuff. I saw 26. I saw 26 different acts. I didn't see them in their entirety, but in 4 days, I saw 26 different acts.
Didn't Nels do like about 4 different variations of shows? Nels Klein, he was on a bunch of different.
Yeah, he was on a bunch of. I did not see that. I did not see that final show. I know Brooks saw that. Brooks was at that final show there.
Oh, you know Brooks?
Yeah, I ended up talking to Brooks, and there were all kinds of people we met. Lawrence Lipkin was there as well.
Dr. Roger, the elusive Roger, tortoise rider.
I did not talk to Roger. I didn't. Roger didn't. I don't know who he is, so I didn't meet him.
Shit Brooks got me into jazz in 1974. We were each other's first roommates, and we called him Jazz Shit Brooks because every morning he'd run to the turntable before school, before college, before working the record stores, and put jazz stuff on 90% of the time. So
the other thing I thought was really cool was some of the panels were, especially specifically Nate Chinnon's panels, were really interesting. Nate did one on 1965, which was a year he opened up telling the story about somebody being, and I don't remember the specifics, about somebody being killed, or actually I do remember the specifics. It was somebody was driving people back and forth to Selma, and they were killed, and told that story of them being killed on that specific day. But then he opened it up to Melvin Gibbs was the first person that spoke. Have you ever had, what was your experience? What does this make you think of in 1965? And Melvin Gibbs basically told the story of his family leaving Alabama, where he lived, because they witnessed a lynching and moved to New York. And so it got really heavy and really deep really quickly. There was some really, it was heavy hitting. And then Nels Klein actually broke down during the same interview because he asked him about the Andrew Hill album Nels Klein has made an Andrew Hill tribute album. And
when was that? Hadn't come out yet?
No, it was out right before Andrew Hill. Actually, it came out right before Andrew, or it was being recorded or being promoted right before Andrew Hill died.
Yeah.
So what happened was Nels, he hadn't thought about it for a while, but he got upset because he realized he was kind of reliving the moment where he had to choose to do a promotion for his album instead of seeing Andrew Hill's performance that same day. And then Andrew died shortly after that, and then Andrew's family showed up at his show and told him he was planning to come to this show, and it was just so clear he was such an important musician to him. Yeah, it was really touching. It was a really touching moment. And here's one of the coolest. The statement I got that's one of the coolest statements that came out of anything was, we've struggled with the definition of free jazz in this group. Everybody talked about free jazz, and Chad Taylor, who was part of the same panel with Melvin Gibbs, said free jazz. So this is a Joe Chambers definition, basically, is musicians being free to play any style in the jazz context. That was his definition, and I like that definition of free jazz because it doesn't have that exclusivity that sometimes it is. It doesn't have that edginess, and so I really liked kind of Chad's definition of free jazz. And Chad Taylor was in a bunch of performances. He's an amazing.
Oh yeah, he's drawing for everybody these days, right?
And the Tyshawn Tyshawn and Vijay performed together as part of Fieldwork. It's Tyshawn, Vijay, and Steve Lehman. And as part of that performance, at the end of the performance, Vijay paid tribute to Tyson and to Tyshawn, and talked about what a great musician it was. And Tyshawn was clearly really touched, but he talked about how much he's contributed to music and how important he is. And it was really interesting to see Vijay just kind of paying tribute to him in front of this audience. that was also pretty trippy because that show, Steve Lehman led the band. You know, it's a band of equals, really. Vijay, Taishan, and Lehman. But Lehman played in a very interesting style where it was really breathy, stuff like that. And then 2 hours later, he played again with his trio plus Mark Turner, and they were playing that new album that's the music of
Anthony Braxton.
Anthony Braxton, exactly, and completely different style of it was like a different. It was like almost a different musician was on stage there, and it was unison playing between him and Mark Turner, but it was just a tremendously different performance, and you could see the versatility of Lehman in those different kind of contexts.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of Chad Taylor and DC people area, the new Luke Stewart record just came out with Chad Taylor on drums, right?
Yeah.
The order.
So we saw Luke. So I spent a lot of time hanging out with both Notes and Tones and Lawrence were both there, and we saw the Luke Stewart performance, and that was just the Silk Trio. So it was Chad, Luke, and Brian Settles. Brian Settles is also DC based, and yeah, it was that was a phenomenal performance.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Luke Stewart, he plays so much intent. Like, he pretty much like hit the bass, right? He kind of is almost like attacking the instrument. He plays with so much intent and strength. He's one of the greatest these days.
He plays so much variety too. He was selling 2 albums. There were 2 CDs I got there that are. This is with Bobby Bratt. You know, this is a CD with Daniel Carter. You know, talking. It's like got poems at the beginning of "Do You Remember," and then they get into the music. And then this is one which was led by Chris. It's Chris Alford, Luke Stewart, and Justin Peake. But this was completely different. This is almost ambient kind of guitar, a little bit harder than ambient, but it's a very atmospheric kind of guitar sound. Completely different kind of albums that he was going ahead and sell. And his Silk Trio stuff, of course, sold immediately. I didn't even make it there in time for that stuff.
That's so cool. And did you have the chance to see Charles Lloyd?
Absolutely. So Charles Lloyd was a trip. The Charles Lloyd's performance was a tribute to Zakir Hussain, and it was a very emotional performance. Lloyd was clearly broken up. At points, people came around and hugged him. At points, he was like rocking during the show. Ganavia performed the vocals of Zakir Hussain. It was all Zakir Hussain's music. It was beautiful. It was clearly emotional and touching. You could see some of the pain in it, but it was a celebration of him as well. But you could see it was hard. It was a hard performance for Lloyd, and he played a bunch of piano, interestingly, on that performance.
Oh, really?
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Which I hadn't seen him do much of that before, and that was I seen him do a little, but he played more than I've seen him do it before. And at one point, so the drummer Harland, is that Eric Harland? I think. Yeah. Had this little tiny drum that he was doing tabla-like sounds on, which were so cool. But at one point, and it was a point he'd worked out with Lloyd, he went over and took the piano and sat down at the piano while Lloyd wasn't playing. And it was clear they were creating a moment where there was no percussion. There was no percussion instrument. There was no tabla. It was a recreation of Zakir's. I think it was a recreation of Zakir's departure. You know, his not being present there anymore. Because he was, again, a reminder, he was this originally, sorry, I didn't point this out. Originally, Zakir Hussain was supposed to perform as part of a trio with Lloyd in the Sangam band. So it was Charles Lloyd, Zakir, and I think Eric Harland on drums was going to be the original.
Mm-hmm. Did you happen to see the Sun Ra with Yola Tango thing on stage?
I did not see Sun Ra with Yola Tango. I heard mixed reviews of it.
It sounds like a huge stage of people.
And I went to see. So there's a bunch of different venues, obviously, and I went to see. Brooks did too, but he was in the front. I went to see Yola Tango, and I thought I literally walked out after a song and a half because the sound to me was so muddy in this great big venue. Unfortunately, the sound from a band combined with a muddy sound from the venue was really bad. It sounded. Here's the moment that sounded best. I went into the restroom, and when the restroom door cracked open, it sounded better than the entire time I was in front of the band.
Oh.
So,
Rob, can you describe how that sounded?
What? which was far better than anything else. And then I immediately went. So Notes and Tones was over at this show by, I'm going to blank on the artist's name. One sec. Sunny War, this vocal singer songwriter, really good singer. So high, it was crazy, but she was a really good. She got her act together during the songs, but when she was talking between, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I walked into that room and it was like, oh my, because I was wondering, is something wrong with my ears? Maybe something's bad. Well, TARDIS writer can tell us about Sun Ra with Yellow Tango, apparently. But the sound was so good when I walked into this other room. It's like, it's not me. It's just that one venue is just rough to do sound in.
Did you see Anusha Shankar? I'm going to ask everyone. Did you see Anusha Shankar?
I did not see Anusha Shankar. I saw, so the first night I laid out a couple of them. I saw, again, I walked out of the Yellow Tango. I saw the Lloyd tribute. I saw Axiom 5, Barry Altschul. That was excellent.
Oh, wow.
A lot of respect.
How's Barry Onschultz playing? He's
It
like
was,
80,
it was,
right?
what?
Is he 80?
He's up there. His playing was really good, well contained. It wasn't a homage to Barry Altschul. All the musicians were playing together. It was a really, and I would say that it was a really interesting free jazz in that it wasn't although the instruments were playing kind of it wasn't crazy. It wasn't pushing limits there. And so it was really easy to kind of stay with and follow it. There was no, there's another one I'll talk about later that was very challenging for me, but,
cool.
And then I snuck in right at the end of Bella Fleck playing with a harp player, Edmark Castaneda, which was interesting, but really seemed to be all about sprinting and playing as many notes as you could. It had an Al Di Meola kind of feel in terms of let's play as fast as we can and play off each other. So it was good. I mean, they're very talented, but it was a very, in contrast to the previous show where everything seemed to make sense and have its place. This seemed to be all about kind of, being a stud and showing and playing as many things as
virtuosity over art, or after pleasantness or something.
Competent. I would even limit it to competent. And I had a similar experience. Now, for me, and I left after the first couple of songs because I was just getting frustrated. The same thing happened with the Joe Lovano Quartet. Although I talked to my wife later who saw the same show, and she said, it got much better in the second half. The first half was kind of rough because it seemed to be just like guys competing with each other. And that can be really interesting. But in the context of some of the stuff that I saw, the rest of these shows there was such subtle interplay. It was just a really different experience.
And some other performances I'm curious about. I don't know if you saw them, like Michelle Negoncello, and
I saw
Smith.
So I saw Michelle and Negoncello. I just saw the end of the show because I was at the Jeff Parker show, which was an excellent show and an excellent performance, and the audience really responded positively. And then I ran over to the Michelle show. There were two venues that were really close to each other, so you could run back. And she was Michelle was everywhere too. She went to all these shows. I saw her give this one performance, and then she was at all these shows. She was all over the town. She was, she was just hanging out in different music and different venues. But that was really. She read something. It had to come that strong political element. Mike said the music was from her. A lot of the music was from her most recent album, which he believes is her best album.
Cool.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and Tortoise was there, right? Yeah, Roberto. Yeah.
Tortoise was there. It was one of the acts that I had to miss, and I was really curious whether Parker played with Tortoise or not because he originally played in Tortoise. I never found out. Steve Roach, and I don't know Steve Roach, but I've heard people talk about Steve Roach since then. I saw Wadada in a church he did the Meditations on Monk thing where he played solo trumpet, and then he brought out the Red Choral Quartet, and they played some pieces together. It was really interesting. I don't fully get all of Wadada. I followed the solo pieces. I followed the solo stuff better than I did the solo monk meditations better than I did the overall choral stuff. But it was beautiful. I just didn't follow it.
He has an amazing tone, right?
He's an amazing, and he's a very sweet, genuine guy. I saw him and Vijay interviewed later in the they have a new album that just came out. It's very politically oriented. Yeah, he was, and then I saw him also he was all over the place. Wadada was all over the place. I also saw him with Sylvie Courvoisier. Here goes Brooks.
Hello.
Knows a lot about the big ears because he was there. So,
do you go every year, CJ? Have you been going?
This is the first time I've ever done it. Actually, the whole group, the group of us that are all there is first time. Obviously, Brooks has been there quite a few times, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. You are correct.
Didn't you start going there after you got tired of South by Southwest or something?
Yeah, that was it, pretty much. It got too big and too crazy, and we were looking for something else, and this thing turned up. This is 2018, and it's amazing. Yeah, I go with 2 friends every year, and it's great because there's like so many different types of music, and it's all great, and it's very a lot of creative stuff. And I don't know what you guys have talked about so far. I'm sure CJ covered a lot of things that we both saw. So I kept running into him. And
why don't you talk about Yola Tango, because you had a different experience at Yola Tango than I did.
And you're talking about their solo show at the Mill in the Mine.
Yeah.
I liked it. I've seen a lot too. I wasn't necessarily their best show, but it was. I enjoyed it. I was up close, and so as we were talking about earlier, maybe I got the audio off of the stage amps rather than through the the PA system. So I don't know. It sounded fine, and they were sort of low key. Other than the beginning and at the end, it was a lot of their low key stuff too. So that was interesting.
I'll tell you, the Steve Coleman show. Steve Coleman has not been performing for a while, and his show I thought was real. Did you see the Steve Coleman show as well, Brooks?
No, I wanted to see that, but it was at the same time as everything's at the same
struggle.
time.
This is the struggle. Which show do I go to?
Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Because Coleman was that. I thought that group was excellent. He had fun with the audience. He was clearly having. And he's been off the scene for a while because of some. There's a federal.
I think I'd seen his name for a while. So let me see. Where was that? That was. What day was that? Oh, there it is. I think it was at the same time as. It was really there's the Squanderers, which I went to see and wasn't.
How were the Squanderers? I was really interested in that show.
It wasn't very good. I stayed, but it was kind of just droning. I thought it wasn't that interesting. But
my wife listened to it a little bit with me, and she said, "You're going to be bored to death by that show."
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't just for me. It was pretty crowded, but
yeah. Well, they had Hank Roberts and other folks that people are really, really worship, and so.
Yeah, well, he wasn't part of the Squanderers.
Oh, he wasn't. Okay, sorry. Somebody.
No, he was with the Bill Frisell's show.
I heard that was really. I heard Frisell's show was really good from one of my friends.
I didn't go to that either. What did I do? I know I went to. I saw the 101 Audio Odyssey.
How was that?
That was unbelievable. That was great. It's kind of an ad hoc group, I guess he put together. Although it sounds like
tell people who's in 101. It makes sense to share who's in 101.
That was Jamaluddin Takuma with Nels Klein, Emmanuel Wilkins, and a great drummer, King Knoll. Never heard of him. But
I heard Wilkins killed at one point during that show.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, what was interesting was the show was more of like a jazz or like a rock funk jazz thing, really upbeat and a lot of stuff going on. And when he came up to do a solo, he was good, but it seemed like he was more playing just a straight jazz kind of a thing. So I wouldn't say it was bad. I just don't know if it fit the format too well, and he kind of stood off to the side a lot.
Got it.
I don't know if he felt uncomfortable or what, but it was definitely a high energy funk thing led by Jamaluddin. Yeah,
and I saw Jamaluddin later with Vernon and Gerald. I'm forgetting the drummer. The drummer that played with he played with James Ludomer a bunch. It was a train wreck. They clearly, it looked like they'd all gotten really hooked up before they gotten on stage, and they all had all kinds of records, but they couldn't. John Maldine was stepping all over Vernon Reid. Vernon Reid didn't seem to know how to.
That was the.
It was at midnight one night.
Yeah. Oh, I really wanted to see that, so it wasn't very good.
Apparently, it got better as the show got on. But if you'd have been for the first 3 songs, you might have decided it wasn't worth it to keep
The
staying.
Freeform Funky Freaks.
Freeform Funky Freaks. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
With Vernon Reid and Calvin Weston.
I've heard they perform well in other shows, but this one I thought they missed.
I'd seen Jenny Scheinman and it conflicted with that. So
yeah, how was the Jenny Scheinman?
Jenny Scheinman was good. The All Species Parade. It was. I mean, she's a great performer. She's got a lot of personality up there. But it was. They had like a 3-guitar lineup with Julian Lage, Bill Frisell, and Nils Klein.
That's crazy.
In addition to Carmen Stoff on piano, Tony Sher on bass, and Kenny Wollison on drums. And it was. They're just on tour now, so they may come your way.
Oh, neat.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, they played a lot of stuff from the new album, so if you like the album, it was.
So for me, the most challenging show that Notes and Tones and Lawrence both loved was Ahmed. And
I heard about that. Yeah,
Ahmed is they play basically one song for the entire concert. They start out by playing the melody, and then they go ahead and break it into little individual bits to the point that they're playing like 2 notes at some points in time over and over and over again. For me, there was a 10-minute period where I could barely tolerate what they were doing. It was like loud, squeaky, da 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 da. But I mean, after that, they kind of returned to more rhythm and stuff like that. But that for me was probably the show that was just beyond the edge of enjoyment for a portion of it. But yeah, it's the way you learn this stuff. You check it out, and
they were in that small venue, the Regus, right?
They were in the Regus Square. That was that was a really small venue to see people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you answer Delphina's question? What's the age group of Big Ears? Mostly older, or a lot of young people as well?
I think it skews older, but I would say that changes on the weekend, and it also depends on which acts you're seeing.
There's a lot of hip hop, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, definitely.
The jazz one skews older for sure, but the as you got more hip hop, like for example,
Billy Woods and those guys.
I'm trying to remember. The lead singer from Portishead was there, and that was cool. There were shows. There was one. Literally the first thing one of the first things they do is the critics stand up and talk about what shows they're excited about. And I ended up talking to a woman next to me who literally was seeing complete opposite shows of everything. There was not a single show we overlapped on in terms of what she was seeing. There's something there. There really is something there, and it just really allows. And I think if I had to do it again next year, I would probably incorporate taking more chances on other music. I found that, especially when it came to I don't know which particular side, some of the jazz, I started to get musical fatigue on day 4. I started to just get tired because
it feels like a job.
It wasn't quite that. It just I 2 or 3 songs in, I was like, I've heard this before, kind of thing.
Well, I've been to Sundance. I usually go for like 10 days.
Yeah,
feels like a job. Yeah.
Wow. That was your job, wasn't it, Rob? Together?
Well, sort of, but everyone kind of leaves after the first 3 or 4 days. Then you can go watch movies without feeling obligated.
Are there many impromptu things like the old South by Southwest where people kind of show up and play someplace?
Yeah.
There were secret shows that popped up every day. They tended to be in a really small venue, and they were primarily in the bluegrass / acoustic folk kind of realm this year, as it worked out.
Yeah, those pop-ups weren't that great.
But
there's definitely
just jazz. Yeah,
there's definitely shows where there's people that are sitting in that are just there because they're here for another show. So they definitely put that kind of stuff together.
I'll read the list for Sylvie Kowalski in a minute. This show.
Oh, that was a great show.
The Chris Davis show was one of the. Jonathan Blake is a monster on drums. She is so good. I highly recommend. This is her CD that came out this year.
Wait, the Chris Davis or Sylvie Courvoisier?
This is Chris Davis I'm talking about right now.
Oh, okay. Right.
That show was at 12 o'clock, 1:15. Apparently she caught a flight and went somewhere else immediately after that. And it's crazy. She runs a record label. She's got kids. She's touring all the time. She's producing all kinds of music. It's amazing. It's amazing what she does.
Yeah, she's great. I like her. I've seen her with Dave Holland, and I've seen her with her own groups. And like you say, she's everywhere.
Yeah, and then the next show in that same venue, and this is a really small venue, probably holds 250 people or so at the Riga Square. The next show there was the Luke Stewart show, which we were talking about.
Oh, okay. I missed that one.
Well, we got bingo, or what's the game? We got 3 in a row from Big Ears. They go diagonal.
Hey, Roger, is it true?
Oh, hey, it's Roger.
Hey, kids.
Roger.
Is it true the only reason you like Steve Roach is because a roach is like a most smoked marijuana cigarette?
Is there another reason? I don't know.
Okay.
So what kind of music does Steve Roach play? It is the kind of thing where it's like you can only discover so much.
Yeah, it seemed like I thought that was going to be like ambient. There's a lot of ambient this year. I didn't go to
Steve Roach does. He has for example, one of his albums is called Quiet Music, and it's like 3 hours of drones, and he's electronic, but he was playing in a church, which is first time in a few years that they've used this church for Big Ears, but it was kind of far off over on.
Was it St. Paul's? Was it St. Paul's?
No, it was a Methodist church over on I think Church Street Methodist. But anyway, it's very beautiful inside with the stained glass and everything, and with Steve Roach playing. And actually, I think with all the things that were there that weekend, there was an organization that was doing light shows, and I'm sure Mazzy's thinking about the Jefferson Airplane, but it was that kind of light shows that were projected, but unlike with the Jefferson Airplane, it was all computer mapped out and everything, so they were able to play with all the edges of the wall and stuff. So
is everything walkable? Is it
yeah.
It's about 25 minutes end to end. If you have to go from far corner to far corner, it's about.
And it's probably pretty flat, right?
Yeah.
No,
there's a little bit of hills, but it's nothing difficult. It's not a big deal. It's definitely walkable.
He's not coming next
I'm very healthy. I can walk.
The Joe Lovano show, I was kind of I didn't get the greatest review of it, but I would say the one thing that really stood out for me in the Joe Lovano show was the Panamanian guy playing bass did this bass solo that was unbelievable, just really emotional, and a lot of it was arco. It was beautiful. It was, and there's some, that for me was the standout of that, and then I left, but because I was trying to squeeze into another show, which was the Courvoisier show.
It's always the problem is there's so much stuff going on that you have to miss what you want or leave something early or get late,
The jazz bums should organize a trip for this. The main bums should go next year.
So listen to who played with Sylvie Courvoisier.
That was a great show. Yeah.
Wadada Leo Smith, Ikwe Mori, who's the electronics person, who was really cool in there.
Yeah.
Nate Woolley, Drew Grass, Kenny Wallison was unbelievable on vibes and drums, and Nasheet Waits. And at one point, Nasheet Waits, they're playing relatively mellow music and very well integrated. And then at one point, Nasheet and Kenny Wallison started having an angry drum battle right in the middle of this. It was so shocking because it was so different from the other stuff that they were playing, and it just was like it just exploded out.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Patty got here. Can you all tell the whole story again?
What's the largest venue compared to the smallest venue?
I think it's the Civic.
Yeah, Civic would be the biggest for sure.
And that's part of why the Joe Lovano didn't work as well. It was in this great big venue, and I think in a more intimate venue, for me, that would have probably changed the kind of nature of that.
Yeah, it seemed a little odd that he was playing there, right? It should have been like at least the Tennessee, if not the Bijou.
So the Civic is what, a couple thousand?
At least, yeah, I would say so, something like that. And there's these two, I don't know if you probably heard this already, but there's like two gorgeous old movie theaters that are renovated old movie theaters that are there that are just great places to see music.
Bijou and the Tennessee Theater were just beautiful. And Big Ears has clearly helped with their uptake. Let's put it that way. The Big Ears is a big part of the economy there. And
who puts on Big Ears? Are they a group that does other festivals?
Okay, so Big Ears was initially started by a man named Ashley Capps.
Yeah, Roger lives in Knoxville.
I didn't know that, Roger. I should just keep my mouth shut for a while.
No, the bijou that you were talking about, in the 80s, mid 80s, when I was in high school, I was an usher there, and so I got to see and so many people, and it was awesome and stuff. And the guy who was putting on those shows was Ashley Capps. He essentially is a really cool guy. I wouldn't say we're friends, but I've say hi to him on the street kind of thing. But he's a genuine music lover who got into the business of putting on shows because he wants to see people. And
tell him what his first venture was in Knoxville. His club.
Well, I don't know that was. You're talking about Ella Garou's.
Great name.
Yeah. He had
Captain Beefheart.
Right. Yeah. He had a club called Ella Garou's, but he's the same guy who puts on Bonnaroo and tons.
Although I think he sold Bonnaroo to Live Nation, right?
Well, actually, AC Entertainment, Ashley Capps,
right.
AC Entertainment actually sold it to Live Nation or somebody a couple of years ago and cashed in. So now they are, the owners of all that stuff. But I know he's still very involved with it. But that's probably more than you wanted to know.
But Big Ears is separate from that. Big Ears is a non-profit organization, actually.
It is. It's still under. I don't know how it's all still under some.
Yeah, I think it's its own entity, separate from AC, from what I understand.
It is a non-profit. They do a lot of music education in schools, kind of year round, and that kind of stuff. But
there's a good question about how expensive it is and accommodations. I know, Brooks, you do the VIP, the all access thing. What do you mind talking about? Like
it is pretty accessible. It is pretty accessible, right?
Accessible.
There's different levels.
There's different levels. There's like general pass. They're all pass. It's pass related. Although I guess now you can get single days if you want. But
you can get a single day, and I think those run around 100 a day. The whole weekend,
and that's not Premier. There's three levels too. There's a general level, there's a Premier level, which is what I opted for, and then Brooks was VIP. And so the general level is a little more challenging. You have to wait in line to get in these shows, and you may not get in because there may be too many people. You're going to definitely have to get in line early. The Premier level, I found you could get there 15 minutes before most shows and get a really good seat.
Good. That's good to know.
15 to 20 minutes. And then some of the shows were more popular and you had to pay attention to that. And then the VIP level, everybody was let in first. They have in some venues they have, and in most of the venues they have special seating up front or elevated seating so that you have better view of the show.
Is it true with the VIP, Brooks? They call you Mr. Joe's shit?
Yes, right. Yeah, that's correct. Yes.
I like.
How did you know?
Sir, I thought it was Sir. They actually called you for that.
Sir.
and I'll share my number at least. So if you buy your 4-day pass early, and you're talking, it's basically $700. It's $750 for a 4-day pass.
Yeah, it's at least a few $100s more than that for the VIP.
Yeah.
But you know what they did this year might have been the first time you could pay it in installments. So I did that, and it took all the sting out of buying the big pass. So that was good. But,
I do the VIP as well, and to me it's worth it just because I don't want to stand in line and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I live 10 minutes away, so I don't have to pay for a hotel or anything.
Yeah.
So.
Funny thing that you were talking about the YOLO
bags for all of us, Roger.
Sorry, what?
Do you have enough room for sleeping bags on the floor for all of us?
Yeah, sure. You might have to share the bathrooms, but.
So I would do one thing I did that I would do different next time is it's important to have a hotel that's downtown. I was on the edge of town. I had a buddy, as it turned out, who was in a hotel across the street, and I could get rides in and stuff like that. But Uber is not. There aren't a whole bunch of Ubers there. I was and having that extra half an hour. I was northwest of the town, probably 20 minutes, which by the time you got there, it was 30 minutes. I would much rather have a hotel. The Mike Notes and Tones and Lawrence and I think you Brooks all had hotels at one time. It would save you time and also just you can go back and rest in the. I was like, oh, I'm not going to need to rest during the day. Somebody's like, you can go back and rest during the whole day. I'm like, I'm not going to need to rest during the day. But it would have been really useful to go back and take a rest during the middle of the day some of the time. I was like, well, I got to keep trucking on and going to shows.
Yeah,
so,
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's true.
And food becomes. There's not great. Overall, there's not great food there. Food, at least for our group, became a non-priority. It takes such a long time to get. It takes 45 minutes to an hour to get food. And so you can't quickly grab something between shows if you're trying to go from one show to another.
Yeah, we don't eat much. We don't eat much when we're there. We first get there the night, like on Wednesday, because me and my friends were all coming from far away. So we have to get in the night before. We have a nice dinner that night. After that, it's like you grab food when you can. And if you happen to have a long period between two shows, and that's probably the best time to try to.
Yeah,
found a good tamale place in Old City.
good golly tamale.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
So in answer to that question, I think it was Trevor. Trevor just put a question up there.
Yeah.
I think it's true the jazz was slightly more experimental. It wasn't way out. There were some shows that were way out there, but it wasn't way out there.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, some of them are, but
yeah, there was country ambient that there was a lot of different. Apparently there's some themes there every year in terms of what's going on. Taishan was in a bunch of shows. Wadada was in a bunch of shows.
Taj Mahal.
What?
Taj Mahal was there. I mean,
Taj Mahal was there. I did miss Taj.
Yeah.
Mainstream.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So I missed Taj because the show I was at went like half an hour long, and I was thrilled that the show went half an hour long, but it meant I couldn't go see Taj. So it's like it's again one of those. It's a great problem to have.
Yeah, definitely.
Missing other great music is really a great problem to have.
It's frustrating, but it's
Yeah.
what the hell? You're almost guaranteed to see something good. You may catch one or two shows or duds, but it doesn't usually happen.
So the most embarrassing thing I did was so I went with a friend of mine. Was, hey, Laraji's in my hotel. We should go see Laraji. And Laraji was this guy that had worked with he'd worked with
he was there last year too.
Yeah, his show was particularly new agey. And so it's a church. And so you've got that big center aisle down the middle, and he's performing literally at that end of that big center aisle. I got in there early. We had really good seats. We were pretty close to the front, but I couldn't take it. And I was like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And the songs were ending. The songs were continuous. Went right from one to another. So I ended up walking down. I had to walk down the middle aisle of a church. And it's like, and stupidly I had an orange hat on. So it's like that guy with the orange hat that walked down the aisle. I'm calling, you're making yourself look like a target for the rest of the show. So it's like, but anyway, it was, you gotta make tough choices.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you
guys have a chance to see Amaro playing at the church? I was just curious what kind of arrangements he put there.
Amaro was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. I hadn't not seen him. I'd heard snippets of his music before, but I had no idea what we were in for. He did an Amazon suite at one point where he went and he had a separate mic that he was looping stuff with. He was looping stuff in the piano and making nature kind of sounds. But he played whistles, he played bells, he played all these different things and was looping these to make this kind of natural environmental sound and looping it. It was really, and he's such an exciting performer. He's so excited to perform. He's such a showman. I was a little skeptical about seeing him, and I'd highly recommend seeing him. His energy is just so cool and so positive.
Yeah, his record stands out of some of the best of the last year for sure. It's so creative, and
I wasn't familiar with him. I didn't see that.
He's such a technical player. Yeah, this was his fourth record actually. His first three records were performed as trio, and this one completed diversion.
So he opened with a very technical performance. It was Tatum-esque almost in terms of what he was doing. It was amazing. But I was a little concerned this was going to be hey, I'm going to show off my technique kind of show in contrast. But then he evolved into songs and stuff like that. But he definitely was blowing people away at the beginning with just his technical prowess in terms of what he opened with.
Yeah.
And then, Brooks, were you at the Alcorn show? Were you at the Susan Alcorn show?
Yeah, I did. I went to that. Did you go?
Yeah, I did.
Did I see you there? I can't remember. I saw you so many times. I don't remember which.
Yeah, we were crossing paths all the time.
Yeah, right.
Well, you saw the guy with the orange hat, right?
Yeah, right. Well, he was with Mike. He was with Mike, Notes and Tones the whole time, or at least when I saw him.
Yeah, we were hanging. Mike and I were hanging out a lot. But that was very. So Susan Alcorn is a pedal steel guitar player that's very well known in a community that I don't know. So
yeah, sort of avant-garde, I guess, right? I wasn't really familiar with her either, but yeah.
I tried to listen to some of her stuff. It's very, very talented, and she played with multiple musicians. But Mary Halverson was tremendous in that, and that's what drew me there. Was Mary Halverson drew me there, and rightfully so. She was tremendous in that show. Everybody, the musicians were all super talented. They did at the end, they did.
It was hard to describe what the music was like, but I guess was her music, their interpretation, and I guess they played with her. Some of them did.
They'd all played with her before.
Okay, that's what I figured. But
and then the
funny thing about the Mary Halverson though is this was the only show she did this year, and like she's usually all over the place at big years, and like I think I saw her 5 times last year.
Wow.
and multiple times in other years too. She's like one of the big regulars, like Frizzell and some of those people.
Did she play anything new? Is she playing anything new, or still with last year's record?
Well, this particular performance, they were just doing the Susan Alcorn things, and she didn't. Okay. That was the only thing she did this time. I think she probably came in just for that because she wasn't anywhere else, as far as I know.
So the drummer at the beginning, I don't know if you were there at the beginning, but the drummer did a very emotional tribute to her, and he talked about the challenge of arranging. She was such a bespoke. He talked about her being a bespoke artist and the challenge in arranging the music around her when she's not there, and the hole it left for her to not be there. It was really quite touching. And
that's interesting.
And then there was a minute. I thought there was going to be a moment of silence. There was a minute or a minute and a half of silence before they began performing, and the whole venue was just stone quiet. It was deep. It was
a John Cage song.
What?
Oh, that's a conceptual.
He was trying to make a joke of a very serious moment.
Yeah. Come on.
4 minutes 22 seconds. All right.
Yeah.
Get it together, Maslov.
And
so the other thing I've discovered is almost everybody that goes one time goes back. I mean, almost everybody I talked to has come for years and returns. It's such a unique experience. I can see having that problem of being a regular and being there every year. So.
If that's a problem, yeah.
I ended up. So 2 things. I ended up having to switch my flight because of some East Coast weather that was coming in. So I ended up not going to sleep the final night because I ended up with like a 5 o'clock flight out the next morning.
Oh.
And so now I have you may hear in my voice, now I have a cold. I pretty much firmly blame that on the lack of sleep that I got this week, which is another reason to stay at a hotel that's closer to downtown.
Yeah.
Will you go next year, do you think?
I'd say I'm about 90%. So one major problem, I run an NCAA pool every year, and I didn't see.
I didn't see hardly any of the Final Four, right?
And the other thing that was funny is Tennessee was in the Final Four game, so there were students were all around partying, watching the game, and there were people watching the game on their phones, like between acts and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Oh, not surprised, but I didn't see.
Obviously, it's big. It's obviously a big deal for them to be in the. I guess it's Sweet 16 Elite games, Elite 8 games. They didn't make
it is, but they're football school.
Well, the SEC used to be a football conference. It is now become a basketball conference as well. So anyway, it was thrilling. It was absolutely thrilling.
All right.
You talked about field work. I saw just before I got on here.
Yeah,
that was a phenomenal show. I haven't heard their earlier stuff, which was like almost 20 years old or something, I guess, by now.
They said they've
But,
been playing together for 26 years.
Yeah, but I guess they're going to do it. The new one coming out, right?
Wow.
That was just amazing. So I mean, VJ and Tyshawn and Steve Lehman. I haven't seen Steve Lehman before, but it was so intense. I mean, I've never seen VJ be that intense. Tyshawn can get intense at times for sure, but the show was just like electrifying. I mean, it was.
And I saw Tyshawn separately. He was.
Yeah.
It was funny because he was playing music continuously, and then he was
everywhere.
He was also playing music. He was not taking breaks between songs. And at one point, he's like, "Are you all feeling it?"
Oh yeah. Oh, that was with his trio. That was with his trio.
It was with his.
And then they had to drag him off the stage because he went long.
Yeah,
Were you at the end there when they? And I could see where I was sitting. I could see a stage manager off to the side, like standing there trying to get them to stop, and they didn't. And then finally, they did stop, and like within 5 seconds, stage crew came on stage. Curtain went up. They were moving stuff around even before they got off doing their bows and stuff.
Yeah.
That was a good show too.
Yeah, I was walking. I literally went to the back of the theater because I was running from there. There are these things where you're at one. I was running from there down to Ahmed, which was down in Riga Square. So obviously this was up at the Bijou, which is at one end. So it was like run down to the other end and see that show.
Yeah, that's
But
pretty cool. Yeah.
It's incredible how on time almost everything is. So, when somebody does run long, just that. And Brooks, I don't know if I haven't compared to previous years, but it felt to me like there was more overlap. Like once upon a time, it seems like everything, would start at 1 and two, and then it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
I think you're right. Yeah, and I was noticing too that they seemed like the shows were an hour and 15, where they were more. It used to be an hour, so that caused a lot of overlap too. And 15 minutes in this environment is a long time if you're trying to see jump around from venue to venue.
Did anybody see the thing in the church where they basically had an organ drone going on for
the Johnny Greenwood thing, the reverb?
I didn't get it. I was going in there, but it just my wife called and that just disrupted me. I missed something because of my wife calling.
Was it Johnny Greenwood?
It was Johnny Greenwood. Something about reverb, and it's
was he there?
24 hours of reverb or something like
that. They were playing tones, and there was another thing where you could stay.
He wasn't there. I mean, it was just basically a drone. At least what I saw. It was a pipe organ in the church. And there's one person sitting at the pipe organ, and it was basically like a drone of like, just one thing. And then after a little while, a woman slowly walked out on stage, sat down, and they slowly exchanged hands on the keys so that the music would keep going. And then the guy walked off. And I think that's probably kind of what the whole thing was.
Yeah, it was.
It was 8 hours. I saw about 10 or 15 minutes of it, but
I say that's
hours.
I didn't see.
You're in a church, so you're getting the echoey kind of impact of the church. The security guard said, "Make sure you grab your gummies and stuff before you go in."
Yeah. But it's
Roger. You should have be cool if you were like tripping balls and you just ended up sitting there for 8 hours hearing the same sound, just freaking out.
Did you guys buy like many CDs or records or anything like of the different artists? Were there a lot of merch tables or one merch table?
There were some merch. There was a great big merch section where you could buy stuff, and Mike and I went into that, and they had all kinds of artists. Then individual artists would sometimes have stuff at the back, and sometimes that was really cool stuff because it's stuff like Ahmed had some stuff at the back of their show, which you can't get.
And the Blue Note Lounge was there too, and that was new. Maybe it's the only time, but they had a Blue Note Lounge, and obviously they were selling.
Oh yeah, that they had some great stuff in a pop up in the Blue Note Lounge, and that's where the information leaked out about. So in Nate Chinnon's panel, they played they played Compulsion, and so as part of it, and the musicians reacted to it. But Nate said, "This album's out now. You can go ahead and get it from." And then like, whoa, that doesn't come out till next year. So apparently, it's coming out next year.
Which album?
Compulsion.
That album. Yeah, I thought you meant something new.
I mean, it's also just a beautiful song, and they all really
yeah.
reacted to it strongly.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't
I
have
guess
them.
Don was hosted some panels, right?
What
He
you say?
did a DJ set.
Didn't
I
Don
have
was
mono and stereo of that.
The only thing I bought was this VJ Iron.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Oh, you got that one. Oh, that's
Yeah,
Oh,
and,
this is
and,
terrific.
they brought
Yeah,
out a Will
very.
Smith. I saw their interview that they had with Ashley Kahn.
Can you show it again, Brooks?
Oh yeah, this is not. This was a well, this is a new album, I guess. Yeah,
It's on ECM, brand new. It's on Amazon. You can find it on Amazon, their website directly everywhere.
sorry,
And
it's backwards, I guess, right?
No, it's
No,
No, it's
you can
good.
see it. It flips it for us.
Yeah.
Good.
It's an ECM album. So I bought that. There's a really intense interview because it's a very political album. About the state of the world and politics and all sort of stuff. And then it got the conversation got in that really quickly. I mean, usually you go to an interview with musicians and they're talking about their albums and the music and all that kind of stuff. And this veered pretty quickly into pretty heavy duty.
It was amazing.
Socio-political discussion.
They have a few albums together through the past decade. Those are terrific to get.
And they asked
about that.
And they asked a question about the distance between the two of them. And it was really interesting because the response was, we've been working together. We're just capturing a moment in time on this album. And then he asked, is it this moment in time? And they're like, actually, no, it was 9 months ago when we actually recorded the album. That's what this album's really about.
Yeah, which
I wish more artists are doing political records right now, personally. That's me.
Well, this is just instrumental. It's not, there isn't anything.
But they do have a great big, and I understand, from what I understand, there's an interview in the middle of the album or the liner, because
really?
There's an interview in the middle of the two of them that Vijay was saying is one of the reasons to buy it. The other thing that was really,
I thought the interview was just in the liner notes.
Yeah, probably in the liner notes, but in the album, I think in the album it's in the gatefold. I think it actually is in the gatefold.
Right. Oh, yeah, right. But I mean, it's not part of the recording.
Yeah, no, it's not part of the recording. The other thing about it that I've never seen before is Vijay was like, I'm being targeted. I need everybody to stop recording right now. So he literally, I've never seen anybody do that, but he's like, I'm being targeted. You need to turn off your recording devices. I'm going to talk freely, but I need you to respect me and turn it off.
Wow. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. And he talked about, since 2016, things ain't good. And then went into stuff with his daughter, went into stuff with my kids do active shooter. My kids are doing active shooter drills. It was really very direct about not being happy with society. And then specifically, he was not happy with Harvard for their policy around the Gaza, the stuff related to Palestine, the Gaza Strip stuff. So it was very interesting to see him be that direct. But it was powerful. It was just very, very direct.
Sweet.
One show I saw that was a lot of fun was Tyshawn's Story with King Britt, who's an electronic musician. Wow, yeah. Did you see that one, TJ? I
saw footage of it. No, I didn't see that show.
Oh, yeah, it was great. It was him, those two. And I've seen the two of them together before. And then, they did that album, Tyshawn and King, which is actually a pretty interesting album if you guys have it. It's a 2-disc thing with 4 tracks, basically jamming. Each side is a jamming track. But they're starting to do these shows with friends, and this time they brought in a guitar player named Mel's, who I wasn't familiar with, but I guess she's played with Lizzo and as a side person, but also Michelle Giocello, and she was in it. So that was very different and added a lot to the show. It was fun. It's, an hour basically of just beats and jamming, and they're all great musicians. So it was in a small venue too. So that was nice.
Yeah, that was great.
And the other thing that was interesting is there are a lot of people that are in different music roles, music venue owners, all kinds of other stuff that were at this show. And at one point, Notes and Tonans and I ran into a guy that's a record producer, and he said, "Let me go back to my car," and showed up later with CDs. This is a CD of Kid Jordan and Hamid Drake. It's not gonna. I should take the rap. And Notes and Tones got a few more from him. So it's But you got people in I didn't even know what the purpose of him giving it to us other than was for us to talk about this guy.
Well, that's how rap started, giving out CDs in corners, in New York City and places.
Some record label, but he recorded him, Drake, a bunch of times, and this time it's with Kid Jordan. It's live stuff. This is a company called Valid Records.
Start again, Mazzy?
Cassettes. Okay.
They were giving CDs in 1973. Yeah.
It's cassettes, and then later CDs. But
Can you break out some cardboard and start breakdancing for us, Mazzy?
I think breakdancing might be a little too literal in this circumstance.
Rob, is that your new tracksuit, or is that the one you bought yesterday?
I have 15 of them. I don't mind getting your blood on this one because I have more.
Yeah.
Closet, just a closet full of them. You go and you just see that closet.
Dude, it's like Jeff Goldblum in The Fly.
Yeah,
No, you're like no, it's like Mickey Rourke in 9.5 Weeks, except it's tracksuits.
Oh,
Well,
well, that sounds awesome, man. Sounds like you had a great time. I'm gonna try to do that maybe here.
I had a great incident when the first day we were there. Me and my friend had gone out to do something. We came out to the elevator, and the elevator doors open, and standing in the back, looking down, very prayerful, was Charles Lloyd by himself in the elevator. And it was like a cinematic. It was so cinematic because the light from the elevator, and he's standing by himself. It was like, whoa. So he gets out and we got on, but it was like, that was a weird moment.
Yeah.
But that's what it's, I mean, that's like CJ said earlier, that's a great thing about festivals because you're intermingling with people.
Right.
With them. Because what I've learned being around famous people, if it's in context, they're happy to conversate with you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I had breakfast with Tyshawn one morning. Well, he was literally at the next table over. So me and my friends are sitting there eating. He's there talking to, I can't remember the guy's name, another musician. And he's basically facing me. And they started talking about that show with King Britt. And so I just started talking to him. I said, yeah, that was a great show. I really liked it.
Did you cover his latte?
Very nice guy. But like you say, when it's in context, like you just happen to be having breakfast.
Well, they're part of the music thing. That's kind of a different thing.
Yeah.
Like in a random New York restaurant or something.
Right. Yeah. One thing about Tyshawn, unfortunately, is he's always been big. It seems like he's gotten a lot bigger, which is kind of sad. I'm concerned. I mean, he's really
physically bigger.
Physically big. He's and he seems like he's put a lot more weight on than when I saw him maybe a year ago or something.
Hey, did you guys all see the Jeff Parker performance?
I didn't. I had him on my list, but
it's Big Ears is it's the greatest challenge with Big Ears, which we were saying earlier, is things are going on at the same time, and sometimes they're opposite ends of the 25 minutes from each other, and you have to just kind of make the.
I was wondering how Anna Butters was in that. She's one of my favorites right now.
I thought she was excellent. I thought she was excellent in that. And she also separately did at the SML performed, and Lawrence went to the SML show and said,
oh, yeah.
Now SML is really interesting. They talked about this a little bit, the balance between live performance and production. And so there's a lot of stuff that's kind of there's some other groups that are also exploring, but that mix between something that's pre-programmed and already made versus was live. Josh Johnson solo does the same kind of thing as well.
My friend went to the SML show. They didn't like it.
Lawrence was lukewarm on it as well, but I think there's a different crowd. I think this is one of the places where the younger crowd appreciates it more than the older crowd does. To be honest with you, Brooks.
And they're on International Anthem also, that SML.
I don't know what label they're on. Actually, that's a good question.
I think they put an album out on International Anthem. I could be wrong.
I think
they've got an album out that people are loving. I know that.
Yeah, I think I think anything Anna is on that label for the moment.
And Freakadelic was fun. Freakadelic is just fun live. So I'm getting on. So I'm flying out of DC, and I'm getting on my plane, and I look over, and there's Jay Belleros, and so Jay Belleros is the drummer in Jeff Parker's band, but I know Jay Belleros from playing with other guys, and I walked up and started saying hey to him. I didn't realize the rest of the band was there with him. Anna Butters, and who I'd never seen before, and Josh Johnson are both there with him. And as I walk in the plane, Parker's there. So the whole I knew it was kind of cool to see Parker's band. Like even before I got started, I was like getting excited about being able to. It was also a sign that I wasn't sure whether I was going to see Jeff Parker's band. That was a sign that I was going to definitely see Jeff Parker's
I
band.
did see Jeff Parker around town a couple of times, but that's on the street.
Yeah, this
Did he ask you to
sounds.
hold his gum?
Sorry, go ahead.
Never mind.
What'd you say, Chris?
I said, did he ask you to hold his gum?
Oh,
It's a long, yeah.
Oh, shit.
no, but the show sounds like it reminds me of when I went to Primavera Sound. It's every day. It's 4 days and actually a fifth night, and everything starts at noon, and there's a ton of stages over this wide park that's up along one of the where the ships are parked, and there's just so much to try to cover. Like the two biggest bands I wanted to see overlapped. And so I finished seeing Standstill from Barcelona, this band from there, and then hauled my ass down as far as I could get to the big stage to see Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah.
And in between was Marshall Allen and Sun Ra Orchestra.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was and then Shellac was after that, and then it was crazy. I was constantly.
I have to admit, probably one of the more disappointing shows I saw was Sun Ra Orchestra. They did not seem more tribute band. I mean, Marshall Allen I saw them with Marshall Allen up in New York in January.
He's 100 now.
They were great. They were fantastic then. Yeah, they had energy. They were focused. This show seemed like, hey, we're on a stage. We're going to perform. It didn't have that same kind of energy.
Yeah.
It wasn't sharp. It was. There was one sax player that was amazing, but I thought it's.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think they may be getting towards the end of their run.
Yeah, I saw him 12 years ago, and so that was just a lot of horns going off. It was intense. It was great.
And there were no keyboards in this show either. There have been no keyboards the last two times I've seen them. And everybody's like, "What's Marshall? What is Sun Ra without keyboards?"
Yeah,
right.
That's a party foul.
Although that was one thing with the Yo La Tengo one where he played keyboards on a number of tunes. Ira Kaplan with them.
So you saw the combo of Yo La Tengo and Sun Ra?
Yeah, that show. Yeah, right.
What do you think of that show?
It was okay. I'm not sure it really worked, although they've been doing it for a while, so they obviously enjoy playing with each other. But I was interested. I'm glad I saw it. It was funny when I got there. I got there a little bit late, and we're trying to find a seat. And it was dark, and I'm just looking for an empty seat, and I finally found an empty seat. Sat down. Turned out I was sitting right next to Roger.
That's like a rom-com.
It was so weird. It was like I looked over. I was like, wait a minute.
It's such a small world situation.
Yeah.
Isn't that the way most people feel when they sit down right next to
Sleepless in
Yeah,
Knoxville.
That's great.
What Brooks didn't know is that 4 or 5 other people had already sat down there, and when they realized
Really?
they left. So,
Oh wow. Well, good timing then.
Only
Light went on. It was Roger.
There's only so much patchouli oil people can take.
But it's definitely a small world situation. I ran into all people.
Because I kept running into you and Mike all the time.
Yeah, we kept running into each other at the same shows. I ran into people from DC, from DC, people that I knew that I didn't even know I knew.
Oh.
Just that were into jazz. It was amazing the number of people that were even local to me that are down.
Well, it was like WFMU running into everybody. Holy crap!
Yeah.
I walk in and I'm there for 2 seconds, and the first human being I see in this monstrous freaking show is Notes and Tones.
Yeah.
Hey, Roger, are you relieved after the week when all these friggin' East and Westerners leave town finally?
It's it doesn't. I don't feel relieved that they're gone, but it definitely. That's one thing. Especially when Big Ear started, it was like there's definitely a weird vibe downtown. What are all those people doing wearing black?
And we have a shop owner here for Premium Sound, one of the record stores. He goes every time. He absolutely loves that Big Ear show. Loves it, especially if they have the international anthem artists, because those are his favorites. So he's knee deep in it.
In response to Roberto, Notes and Tones is not a celebrity down. Notes and Tones is not a celebrity down there. There are a lot of other celebrities that trump Notes and Tones. Other than me, I saw people, but I hung out with him and his wife a bunch. So yeah, but no.
He posted a lot of good content. He
did.
definitely made the rounds. That's for sure. Saw a lot of I think the Charles Lloyd footage was my favorite of what I saw from him.
That was again such an emotional. It was such an emotional show. Lloyd was again at one point the drummer came and gave him a big hug because it was about Zakir. You know, it was a tribute to Zakir Hussain, who
great.
So he was supposed to play. It was a really emotionally and well done and very respectful show to Zakir's family.
Yeah.
That looked like a much bigger venue.
Yeah, Organized Sound, you should chill. They showed CDs they bought there, so calm down.
Yeah.
We're all talking about going back next year, so I think you can figure out from that whether we had a good time or not.
That venue was at the Tennessee Theater, which is the second biggest venue. That's the one that's good. It's just gorgeous. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a theater that's been renovated to such an extent like that.
Yeah, it's great. Beautiful.
They're doing another big renovation on it. Apparently, I'm not sure what they're going to do, but yeah, I was trying to remember if it was at the Bijou or the Tennessee, but it wasn't the Tennessee, right?
I think it was the Tennessee. Maybe I'm wrong.
Hey, Roger,
I was in line with somebody else who's a longtime Knoxville resident and or maybe lifetime. I don't even know, but he was telling me that years ago, and I don't know when, maybe 70s or 80s, that the Bijou was all run down. It was a porn theater.
It was a porn theater, yeah.
And then the Tennessee was on the verge of being torn down.
Were you an usher there too, Roger?
Not at
No,
the
he was
Tennessee.
just a customer.
Not at the porn theater, no.
Yeah.
But that's the truth in a lot of towns that had bijous. I don't know if it was a chain, but a lot of those bijous went in Richmond, Virginia. We had a bijou, and it showed the Rocky Horror.
Yeah,
but it was kind of run down.
The downtown Market Street had all those reports for a while.
DC, we had a
I think
bijou.
it's just, I don't think it's a chain.
No. There was a bijou movie theater in DC.
Here goes. I'm gonna try to show the theater.
Bayou Club with music.
No, it's a bijou.
This is the
That's the Tennessee.
That's the Tennessee. I'm really bad but you get an idea. It's a huge stage and beautiful old lighting and fixtures in the corners. I mean, it's
gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
Damn it.
That's cool.
Lee will go next year. I have no idea what that means, Roberto. I will. Oh, okay.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
It sounds cool. Felipe was gonna go.
Yeah, that too. Cancel last minute, but next year I'm going for sure. Tickets go on sale and lineup will be announced on September 10th.
It's an early decision, and the tickets or the early bird tickets are like $50 off or something like that.
That works.
Usually of various things.
And they go on sale. It's usually in the fall, September or something like that.
And returnees get first dib. You get the first dib you bought if you've been before. So it does favor returnees, and then there's a date like 14 days.
And also,
later.
if you donate to their organization, then you also get early.
Like a membership.
Earlier in line. Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
Is there a Jazz Shit Brooks Lounge at the fest?
No.
Okay.
Not yet. Yeah, you said that.
Of course.
I don't know. Yeah, it's funny. This was our sixth one, and talking about running into people there's now people that we run into that we've seen that we didn't know before, but we met at earlier big years, and you just run into them. It's like, oh yeah, I remember you.
Yeah, like that Tom characters from my area that you were. Tom, you were talking to for a while.
Oh yeah, well yeah, Tom, yeah. So did you know him? Or?
He goes to, this is one of the situations, there's a club called Rhizome that he is at literally every show I'm at.
Oh, really?
Literally every show. I just hadn't met him before, so I went up, saw him in line somewhere, and said, hey, I see you all the time. I should say hello. So.
That's cool.
Oh, that's funny. I don't really know him that well myself. He's friends of one of my friends who I'm there with, and last year was his first year coming to this, so that's about the extent that I know him. But
we're not talking about. I mean, Joe Boyd was there and had a movie that was there that he talked about. The Joe Boyd talks Actually, there's one in DC tomorrow that I'm planning to go to. The Joe Boyd talk was supposed to be phenomenal.
Yeah, I really wanted to see
This
that.
is the book.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the great Joe Boyd book that he's.
And they said he is a sociologist. They people were praising. Lawrence went to this thing and
This
said
is a mother of a historic book of world music and cross pollination in different countries.
It's coming out an audiobook. So
really?
Well, it's going to be like
an audiobook version of it. So because I know you like me are an audiobook guy. So this Joe Boyd thing, because Joe Boyd was really associated with Hannibal Records. He was associated with bands like Fairport Convention, Richard Thompson.
Yeah.
There's a long list. I'm not. Those are the associations I primarily.
He produced the first Pink Floyd. They were the house band at his London club, the UFO Club, when he left the Harvard area and with Jeff Muldar and brought blues artists to England and worked as an A&R for Elektra Records. Then, great story, great stuff. The audiobook must be abridged. If it's not abridged, it's going to be like, Jesus, a 200-hour audiobook.
I already heard that the audiobook's going to be digitally supported, so there's no reason to even bother with it.
Are you serious?
This is the Jenny Steinman show with the 3 guitar players.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's Nils, Julian, and Bill, right?
Julian Lage, Nils, and Bill Frisell.
And Bill Frisell was all over the place supporting.
Yeah.
I mean, he was at the Ambrose shows. He was at the Ambrose interview. It was pretty funny at the Ambrose interview. Ambrose praised Bill, and his wife was there with him. But Ambrose praised Bill, and then he praised Kukai, and he didn't know they were in the audience because they'd shown up late. And it was really funny when he was saying, like, one of the most magical, and it was cool especially for Kukai, who's not as well known in these.
Yeah, that's cool. So
to get that kind of praise.
They were together on Ambrose's previous record, also from 2022 or 3, if I'm not mistaken, which is like absolutely killer record as well.
Who? The one that also had the quartet on it. It also has a string quartet on it.
Oh yeah, Rob was talking about this at a shop today.
Felipe's got.
I saw part of his show. It was really good. It was interesting. He had a string quartet and he had a rapper and he had keyboards. It was a wild combination of people.
Yeah, it was really interesting because he spent a lot of time talking about in the interview with Nate Chinnon. He spent a lot of time talking about he spends so much time working on his craft, yet he is against ego. So for example, when he does the solo show, he talks about needing to, he practices really hard so he can play beautiful things. And he said 20 minutes to every show, he gets ego and like, I got to show everybody what I can do. I can play all the notes. And he has to shut that feeling down and just kind of stay true to the music and stay where he's at. So he said he's missed in 25 or 26 years, he's missed practice 5 days in that entire.
Oh wow!
That's about music, and he said it's because I was sick or because somebody died or something else. And my practice is really important to me. My craft is very important to me.
Well, Coltrane practiced all the time. All the time.
I'd say that probably Ambrose is one of the most technical and skilled musicians these days, if not the best.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily showing it. And then he also talked about the pressure of being the guy that made the album that everybody looks to, and he talked about having to being in that role and how that freaked him out a little bit at the beginning and backed off and he disappeared for a while. And practice. The Allen Iverson reference there is pretty funny. Anyway,
you should have to pay to comment that.
Yeah,
everybody got to make it $10.
Brother needs to pay up before he says anything else.
Yeah.
So
that's cool, guys. That's pretty awesome.
I saw somebody said they wanted to just follow Frizzell around, and you could do that because he's at every.
Yeah. Oh, he's everywhere. Yeah.
He was there. Ashley Khan and Nate were everywhere. Michelle was at a bunch of shows.
Did you see the interview with Frizzell and Nels Klein? that Don Was did in the Blue Note Lounge.
No, I didn't see
That was pretty interesting. I didn't realize they'd known each other for 40 years. They're good friends,
Oh, yeah.
so it wasn't surprising that they showed up at least with the Jenny Scheinman together. But
I'm interested. Who saw the Lodge, Klein, and Frizzell show? Did they take turns, or were they?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it wasn't. Yeah,
they weren't all playing at once, right?
Well, I mean, they were, but they weren't all like taking leads at once, and it wasn't really the kind of show where leads were featured so much. Although they did all have, a few moments to, go wild, but they were basically just there as guitar players. They had different. Julian Lodge was playing acoustic, which was interesting.
Oh, okay.
And the other two were on electric.
Oh, that's interesting.
So was it more about the other band, the rest
Well,
of the
it's
band?
the whole band, really. I mean, she writes songs that are really songs and need to be performed by the band, and it's not especially focused on solos and so forth, I would say.
I'm just interested. It seems like a lot of good guitar, but a lot of guitar.
Yeah, right. And they didn't really interfere with each other. They didn't interfere with each other, really. It's more low key. They weren't like, rocking out or anything like that. It was very complimentary to each other, so it worked. But I agree. I don't like it when, you go to a show and there's a jam at the end and there's like 6 guitar players or something, and it's like, okay, I'm
Immediately
done.
what I thought of was
Brooks, Moby Grape.
Yeah, well, they were that way. I mean, they didn't all play at once, right? I never saw it.
They meet at once, but they all played at once.
I went to a Pearl Jam show where they had like 3 or 4 guitar players coming at the end, like just come on and play the last song. And I felt like none of their guitars were actually plugged in.
Yeah, probably.
It sounded like Pearl Jam the whole time, right? Like it didn't sound like 8 guitars being played or whatever.
There's a band, Darkest Hour, that has 3 guitarists on stage the whole time, all shredding at the same time. It's insane.
How many Desire Maiden have playing?
Leonard Skinner.
Yeah,
they have 2 drummers.
Which band did you just say, Dave?
Darkest Hour.
Okay, sorry. There was a band called Dark Side that some people were talking about.
No, this is like real heavy.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's crazy stuff. That's the only time I've ever seen 3 guitarists be able to play all at the same time, shredding. Did
it work, or was it just crazy?
Yeah.
Very cool stuff. Well, Rob, do you have any records you want to show?
Records.
I hung out with my friend Brad from Omnivore, and I hooked Brad up with Mazzy. And Mazzy's been doing a good job of kind of helping, because Omnivore has no marketing budget. Mazzy's doing a great job. But I
have a video coming Tuesday for it too.
There's a jazz title that they have only on CD because they have a relationship with Art Pepper's widow.
Oh, Milko Levy of Tony Dumas.
Yeah. This is a band he played with a lot, I think, in his last tour. But here's the interesting thing on this record. She wrote the liner notes, the widow, and she recorded it, and she forgot to change the tape. So she apologizes for one song. The tape runs out. But it's 2 CDs. Yeah, it's 2 CDs. And
cool.
Yeah, so that came out, and that was pretty cool.
I like Omnivore. They have a lot of interesting artists. Or at least
you like CDs. Sometimes. So Brooks, let me know what you want, and I'll send you some CDs.
Oh, well, okay.
Anything jazz?
Yeah, but this is not jazz, and there's a bunch of other titles, but I won't.
Yeah, I have never got jazz from them. I've gotten other things.
They have a lot.
I got that too.
Right, but I will say this. This is the first time this has never come out. This is like one of their earliest live shows, and this is excellent. This live Buck Owens in Richmond, 1964.
I think all the jazz bums should get those nudie suits. I love those nudie suits.
I know that Buck Owens had a sense of humor from like Hee Haw, but they really played well together. And if anyone knows anything about him, Don Rich, who's really his
great guitar player.
He says, fiddle, he played everything. Yeah. But he says in the show, it's his right-hand man, and that is true. but he died in a motorcycle accident, and I
Yeah.
don't think Buck Owens, like in the early 70s, Buck Owens was never the same afterwards.
Yeah, he was in his 30s.
Wow.
He was in his
Yeah.
30s.
And in fact, Omnivore put out a solo record of his.
He had one of the great Telecaster guitar players.
Yeah, Omnivore. So they developed a relationship with the Buck Owens estate. They had warehouses full of records that they never sold. That I think there's still some up on the Omnivore site, but they put out a lot of Buck Owens stuff. So
I like that Rob gets pissed off when we show non-jazz records here, and he's going
No, I just get pissed off at you, Mazzy.
He's going full-blown.
So I found. So I think Brandon recommended this record a while ago, and I found it, and it is excellent. Didn't you recommend this, Brandon?
You're muted, Brandon. You're muted.
That's Joe. Analog Archive found that.
Yeah, that wasn't me.
Okay. Well,
And then
I
I found a copy
times
later.
and I found it again, and this is excellent, kind of free jazzy. Warren Smith, who this is from the 70s, but he really doesn't look. This dude's 90 years old now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I looked him up. He's still alive. He was a big educator, teacher. He's part of the Boom, the
the Max Roach.
Yeah, Max Roach and Boom. But this is so I didn't know there was another one with him. Oh no, not that one. That's this one with this is more kind of ambient. This is free jazzy, but this is more kind of ambient ECM sounding. And again, look at him. You're going, oh, that picture was like from 1989. No, 90 years old now. So this is good. And then this one, I don't know if Chris wants this. This is one of Chris's favorite Lou Tabakin.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And this sound, these sound amazing. They're 45 RPM direct to disc. They're more like EPs. This sounds more like a full album. It's 4 songs, but it's really good. So your pile, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Who's on that with him? Does it say? Or is it just him?
Shelly Mann is on here, and then a couple of Japanese guys.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
Oh no, one Japanese guy. And then
Kiyoshi and
That's his
Tabak.
wife. Tashiko's his wife.
Okay, there you go.
Shelly
It sounds
Mann.
really good.
Yeah, I bet.
It's the separation and soundstage. It really is excellent.
He sounds like an audiophile.
Well, yeah. Why don't you come closer to your microphone? So I communicate a lot with the University of Vinyl, Tim, and he was in a store that dropped a whole BYG collection, and he showed me this, and I said, "Can you please get it for me?" And he did. So this is excellent. Frank Wright. It's Noah Howard and him, and who's the other guy? Muhammad Ali on drums, and Bobby Few on piano. Very
What's up,
free
Scotty?
jazz.
I'll send hello to Scotty.
Okay, hello, Scotty. This is good. So, got that. Put it in later. I found a very minty copy of Van Gelder copy of this.
Yeah.
So I had a later 70s. It was nice to find that.
Is that the like a wagon wheel, basically? The old school Impulse? Oh, okay.
Nah, I think this is probably a 68 or 9 pressing.
Yeah. That's a great record.
I didn't know about this record. I mean, I have Frank Stoller led. The best one is he did one with VJ with basically the rhythm section is the backing band. But this is very good.
Or something. It's like the spectacular Frank Strozier or something like that.
Yeah, on VJ.
On VJ.
This is really good. It's either sextet or
George Coleman.
Yeah.
It really is. Does he play flute or just sax?
He plays flute, plays both.
He's
Spike
a great
Lee's
flute
dad.
player.
Huh?
Who's that?
Spike Lee's dad.
Yeah, Bill Lee. Yeah.
Bill Lee.
Spike Lee's dad.
And then here, so this is good. And I'll do a video about this. So Kraft sent me the Record Store Day mono that's coming out.
Oh, cool.
And I thought this was the original with the picture on it.
No.
It came out once when it was initially released as this.
Right.
But every other one was this.
Wow.
It's the mono.
Have you listened to the
Record Store Day is a mono one.
Yeah.
They're both mono.
Yeah.
They did come out as stereo, but I'm going to compare them because they're both.
Have you not listened to it yet? The new one?
No, I'm not yet. I've been busy.
How's the jacket? No. Go back to that.
No, if you bought the other ones, tip-on beautiful jackets. Like they did the Chet Baker, they did the Bill last year. They did Bill Evans, right?
Yeah,
no, they did Gil Evans. They did Bill Evans.
They did Art Pepper.
Yeah, they did Art Pepper. Did Art Pepper for
did
sure.
Mazzy, did something fall on top of you?
I think he's taking shit.
I'm cooking.
So, but the jacket's nice and it feels good. I'll open it up and do a video. Okay, Cheap Heat, get them anytime you see the Shelly Man and His Men album. This is I guess a tribute to the Peter Gunn show of Mancini, but this is excellent. So we just talked about Frank. He's part of the Men on here. There's Frank right there.
Yeah. I have that record.
And I think Man has 2 Peter Gunn records.
Yeah, he does. He has Son of Gun too.
So Mike Walford and then Monty Budwig. This is excellent, and this is a case. This is mono.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what mono is supposed to sound like. This sounds full and loud, and the separation. This is excellent.
Supposed to come from the middle.
Yeah.
Hey, if anyone's near Seattle, can you do a favor for me?
I left yelling at Rob.
Okay. So I went into Atomic here in Burbank, and the owner goes to Japan all the time because his wife's Japanese. And he brings back records, and he handed me this one.
Never seen that.
Well, so it did come out in the U.S. on Milestone, but it was originally done in Japan. This is the original in Japan. It was for CBS Sony.
And when is that from?
1970. And this is free jazz. So it's Jack DeJohnette, Benny Maupin, Gary Peacock. Yeah, this is excellent. But it's not crazy free jazz, but it is free jazz.
That's okay.
And
that's good.
Is that the same band as Voices?
I don't know.
I think it is.
And the cover I've seen before is the French cover, which is yellow, and I think basically has a lot of these pictures on it. So
he was at Big Ears, I think 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay, this is a record. I'm going to say everyone try and get this record. Okay. This Buddy Tate meets Dollar Brand.
That's not this album. That's not this album, right? I don't think so. It's because.
No, that's not that album.
Yeah, I didn't think so. You said yellow, and I thought, well,
no, only the French version is yellow.
Okay, yeah, this.
But I haven't seen that one.
Lineup. This is a different lineup.
Yeah. Right. Okay. I'm gonna say everyone try and get this. This is the Japanese pressing, but it's on.
Chioro, whatever.
Okay, so if anyone knows Buddy Tate was like a big band saxophonist. This is scary good. But here's the lineup. It's Buddy Tate, Dollar Brand, Cecil McBee, and Roy.
Whoa.
And basically, this is Cecil McBee's record. It feels like the bass is the lead on this. Buddy Tate does a really great job of kind of accenting all the songs. But I'm a sucker when people do a version of In a Sentimental Mood. It always feels like they make it their own. It is killer on this. Killer.
It's such an odd lineup.
And this is not an expensive record. If you can find it, get it. You will not be disappointed by this record. So that for me, this was the find of all of these. Because
you're like the Rona Barrett of the jazz bums, Rob.
No, Rona Barrett's like this. She had like a big giant head and a pencil neck. All right. I think that's it. Oh, I did upgrade copy. I found a mint copy of this. So that's it. I think. Thank you.
I just got one, two.
Three.
I haven't listened to this yet, but this is the Record Store Day.
Nice.
Dispensary from Kraft.
Yeah.
It just came. It's interesting what they're doing with these color, like the cardboard on the inside is like a color, you know.
Mm-hmm.
See that? I like that.
Does it smell like weed?
I don't know, but and this is not jazz. Jazz. This was an unreleased 1970 Memphis recorded Carla Thomas, great soul singer. Wasn't released until the 2000s on CD. First time on vinyl. I haven't listened to these yet. They just arrived. And just because I'm going to show it, this is the new Sasha Berliner album.
Oh, nice.
We saw her the other night, but she did this. It was weird because it was cool, but it was. She did.
She was playing in a basement. It looked like, or sort of garage or something. That picture you sent looked like she was playing in a garage.
It reminded me of the Club Anon shit we used to go to, Brooks, South of Market.
Oh,
it's a bar over. Anyway, it's a bar with a venue. There's this new jazz pop-up thing they're doing for the younger jazz artists in different venues, but it wasn't her usual, straight ahead vibes jazz. It was she did a DJ set at the same time playing vibes.
Okay.
It was kind of cool, but it wasn't anything like the record.
And the vibes were electronic, right?
Yeah, but they're not on this. I mean, there's some of that on this, but this has nothing to do with what she played live. Electronic did a DJ set. And it was actually kind of cool, but obviously nothing like this. And it's a new thing for her, but she just got invited to this thing. She wanted to do it. There was a really young crowd there. I was probably the oldest person there. Mark, Vinyl Crush's wife, and Kimbo. We were the oldest, but it was good. All standing up in a very small, like a New York or South of Market club, hit like a DJ set. But it was packed for a small venue. It was good. It was fun. $20, it's great. That's it.
Hey, Rob, what was the name? Who was the band on that Sony Japan? What was the
Betty Moppet, Jack DeJohnette, and Hideko. What is here?
What are we doing?
Oh, Gary Peacock.
Hideo Ishikawa. Okay.
And a Japanese drummer.
And Gary Peacock, right?
Yeah. Japanese drummer, I guess.
This is another good one. This is Eastward. And this is Gary Peacock with Masabumi Kikuchi and Hiroshi. What is it? The drummer is Hiroshi Murakami on drums. And this is really good. And Voices is another Gary Peacock led one. This is much more affordable and it's fantastic. Voices is great, but I think Voices is like $150 now. You can pick this up though. I think I got this for 30 or 35. This is a great.
That is the Japanese version. Did it come out in the US another way?
I don't think so. This is Sony Japan.
Yeah.
I don't think it did. Anyway, I highly recommend the Gary Peacock when he's playing with
anybody.
The Japanese. No, the stuff he did in Japan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Particularly is really good. And Voices, I think Voices might have Jack DeJohnette and then Masabumi Kikuchi on.
Well, no, that's Brooks just showed it.
Huh?
Brooks just showed it.
Oh, you just showed Voices? Who's on Voices?
He's
gone. He's
Brooks
gone.
fainted.
Okay, so while I was looking for this, he showed Voices. That's hilarious.
No, hey, by the way, I forgot to show this. Sometimes my local record store has this. I assume you can pick this up all over New York. And this is a very good sort of a jazz version of Record Collector News. Yeah. And they have a nice big fat ad on the back for Strata East.
Oh, the article written by the staff
for the new Strata East.
No, they wrote a nice article. No, each individual writer gets credit on this. So they did write a nice article about Strata. In fact, most of it is like reviews of records. So, but there is another ad, and I forget. I think one of the records Chris hates the most is.
Dude, don't put the newspaper on top of your microphone. We can't hear you.
One of the records that Chris hates the most is that Charlie Rouse Cinnamon Flower.
Dude, that record blows.
It's horrible. Well, it's coming out, I guess, record store day.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Show the ad.
It's 2 LP. I'm trying to find it.
Who's doing it? Is Chad doing it or something?
No, Residents.
No.
2
Do you know that
LP.
record, CJ? You're muted, by the way, CJ.
What are you asking about? Cinnamon Flower?
Yeah, Cinnamon Flower. You know that record?
Why would I buy that record?
It's like a $3
No, you wouldn't. I'm
record.
just saying, do you know it? Have you ever heard it?
It's not terrible.
I sample in the record
It's not
store.
very good. I don't think it's
Yeah.
terrible, but it's not nothing to talk about.
It's not great. Yeah.
There's like 85 people on the record, and it's like a Charlie Rouse. It's like Charlie Rouse trying to do 70s Donald Byrd. That's what I
Yeah.
think.
I mean, get the Charlie Rouse. That one on Strata East is kick ass.
Oh God, yes. 2 for 1 or 1 for 1.
Yeah, it just came out. The real.
I mean, if you need to have Cinnamon Flower, go buy a $5 copy of it and don't pay.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
It's up to you.
Charlie Ross 1 for 1 is one of the best records ever.
Yeah. Did you get a copy of the new Strata reissues, Rob? Did you get any? Did yours come in?
Yeah, no, I already have. I think I'm gonna order the Live at Slugs, but I have an OG of Volume 1, and I'll later pressing the Volume 2. But I got them. I got the Charlie Rouse and the Stanley Cowell. Excellent.
Yeah, what do you think?
And I'm gonna say this about Mac Avenue. So I had a seam split in my Charlie Rouse in the inside of the gatefold.
Yeah.
They're replacing it. They had no problem. Easy, quick.
Nice. Good customer service.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Hey,
added
kids. So sorry to interrupt, but I'm gonna take off. Excuse me. Thank you.
Hey, go, Roger. Would you say hi to Tennessee Jed for me?
No place I'd rather be.
Okay. Thank you.
I gotta go too. So good sitting in.
Bye,
with you.
Brooks. I'll see you maybe
Yeah.
in the summer or fall.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks. Bye.
Bye, Brooks.
I got the title wrong. It's not 1 is 1. It's 2 is 1.
Yes.
This is an
phenomenal
OG,
LP.
but this is one of the best records I own.
Yeah, I like it.
Get the reissue, everybody. Get the reissue.
It's quiet vinyl. It sounds great.
It's a tone poet, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it have
It's
extra
like-
photos?
It's like the original Tone Poets because they have the stout with the seam splits.
Yeah, no shit.
Hey, Chris.
Oh, you guys? There was a guy on the Jazz Vinyl Lovers that was from Eastern Europe somewhere. That was just his whole thing was he was so angry at Split, like that was his shtick. He
You
was
mean
just,
like 2 years ago? Yeah.
no, it was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, no, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
And
on Ken's Facebook.
yeah, on Ken's Facebook, because it was 4 or 5 years ago, and everything was like, I mean, he was just so angry and just so, and it was every Music Matters he bought was seam split, and every Tone Poet he bought was seam split, and it was like he just couldn't stop. That was like his shtick.
Yeah.
And people have bad luck with that shit.
It must be like some kind of karma or something.
That's
Kind of like me with Discogs.
Well, here's the deal. Stop putting the record inside the sleeve. Then
They're not going to do that.
Split.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Hey, Chris.
Hmm.
I had to jump off last week. I didn't get to show anything. I don't know if you still wanted to see any of that stuff.
Yes.
CJ wants to see 75 CDs. I'm sure of it.
You got some.
I got some records here first from the convention and whatnot.
All right. I'm going to a show tomorrow.
Here's found some 45s. Miles Davis.
Wow.
Cool.
White label promo 7-inch. This is Girls of Kilimanjaro Part 1 and 2. Mint.
It's a great film.
Yeah.
Dog.
This older guy turned around and that's all he had was some old 45s. I got like these two, Miles Davis, and then what the hell else did I get from him? But In a Silent Way, also white label promo. These are stereo originals. I'd never seen these before.
How do they sound?
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, because 7 inches. I mean, they just
Are they edited for the single?
Do they get the whole song? I mean, the whole album, or is it
Does
just
it continue from side 1 to side 2?
Hold on.
Answer
Somebody-
all those questions.
breaking up. You hear that?
Yeah,
Did you
you're
get a
breaking up.
staph infection?
You're breaking up. Yes, you were. Rob's being
That's only the second year of what stereo 45 started in '68, I think. So that would be the second year of stereo 45. Is one side mono, one side stereo? If it's promo.
Promos, but they're both.
Dave, can you hold up today's newspaper?
Yeah, you're breaking up. You might rejoin the.
No,
Hey,
you might
I do. His mic is great, but
no, seriously, the white label singles usually one side's mono, one side stereo. Is that the case in that?
No, there's both sides of stereo.
Oh, okay.
It's just they split the song into part
I
one.
guess you
part
wouldn't
two.
have a Miles Davis kind of blue or that music. I mean, that music on AM radio anyway.
Well, I mean, did Miles Davis have hit songs on any chart from those albums?
Not till he covered what's her name?
Mike Cyndi Lauper.
Cyndi Lauper. Yeah.
No, but even back then, I mean, like on the soul chart.
Someday when my prince will come, probably, there was probably an edited version of that, the Disney song from Someday My Prince Will Come. I don't know if there's a 45 of it, but it could have been. Oh, no, what year was that? 60? Was that early?
Silent Way is 69.
No, but what is Someday My Prince Will Come? What year was that?
Oh,
62? 60?
Look.
We can. Hey, we have the Google, don't we?
Yes.
Well, I will say this. This moment of the show is brought to you by Wikipedia. All our facts come from Wikipedia.
1961, December 11th, 1961.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good one. Well, I'll show some CDs since Dave failed with his microphone. I just pulled like 10 CDs out of my stash of shit and I listened to them this week. This one's cool. This one's Julius Hemphill Sextet at Dr. King's Table. Julius Hemphill isn't on this though. It's like a legacy band or whatever.
Yeah, I saw actually in this magazine. There's a bunch of shows in New York where who's in that band because they're doing shows tribute to Julius Hemphill.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if it says here.
Let's see.
So you got Marty Ehrlich on alto sax, soprano, flute. He's like the main guy. Alto flute, clarinet, bass clarinet. Sam Furness playing a bunch of different instruments. Andy Laster, Gene Gee, and then Andrew White plays tenor sax, and Alex Harding. And so it's all saxes and
here it is right here.
Like that.
It's this black composers up south. And in April, Oliver Lake is doing something, but these last two, Julius Hemphill.
Tamika Reed is awesome. So
well, some of the same guys there. Well, at least Marty Ehrlich.
Yeah.
I mean, Andrew White's dead, so he's not performing.
Yeah. This is
actually he is coming out.
This one came out in '97. New World Records, which I've never heard of. So anyway,
Mazzy, turn your phone all the way down. Come on.
Sorry.
Way to pay attention to my CDs, dickhead. God,
it wasn't on purpose.
All right, back by popular demand. Say something, Dave.
I don't know. I'm here. I couldn't hear a word.
Not good.
Back.
You're back.
Clean and clear.
Yes. All right, I'll go through my CDs quick.
Yeah. Let's see them.
This is another one that I really enjoyed. So Steve Lacy with Mal Waldron called Hot House. This came out on vinyl too. This was on Novus, I guess.
Oh, that sounds cool. What year is that? A 90s?
Yeah, let me see. Recorded in 1990. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I like some of the other ones I have of them two better, but this is a good one. Then this one is kick ass. I want to get this on vinyl at some point. It's Charles Earland, Black Talk.
Yeah, that is phenomenal. I love that album. And the version of
You
Aquarius.
can find it. It's everywhere.
Probably his easiest record to find.
Yeah,
that's cool. I mean, I found it on CD first.
Yeah,
the version of Aquarius on there is amazing, right?
Yeah, it is. And so let's see. You got Charles Riddle on organ, obviously. Virgil Jones on trumpet, Houston Person on sax, Melvin Sparks guitar, Idris Muhammad drums, and Buddy Caldwell on congos. So yeah, I'll definitely have to find a vinyl version.
Yeah,
a vinyl copy of
I
it.
think it's like you could probably find a mint one for $20.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Rob
Really
will get you one. Rob will get you one.
I got some other Charles Jones stuff. This is definitely my favorite.
It was
I
a
think.
very popular record. Every copy I find is not in perfect condition.
Rob's the jazz fixer.
Yeah. What's next? Oh yeah, this is great. So this one is Tommy Flanagan, George Mraz, and Art Taylor. So it's a trio, and I'd like to get this on vinyl too, but I found this.
Yeah,
CD
I have it.
Oh yeah,
that's great. I have that.
Thematic.
Cool. Yeah.
Isn't
Thelonious
that
and-
what's the one where he's playing all monk stuff, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's all good stuff.
Like Thelonious, Thelonica.
Yeah, Thelonious, exactly.
Yeah.
A bunch of less. What's cool too is it's not all just like Monk's most popular tunes. It's kind of some deeper cut shit. This is one of my favorite CDs. Period. It's on Tel-Art. I can always talk about Tel-Art, but this is kick ass. So Ray Brown, Lonnie Alexander, and Russell Malone. Really kick ass trio. All the stuff that Ray Brown did on Tel-Art's awesome. But I love Lonnie Alexander, the Jamaican piano player, and then Russell Malone's real kind of bluesy, just awesome on this. So highly recommend that one for sure.
Those made in Germany, those Tel-Arts, Chris?
No, they're American.
Really?
Yeah, they recorded here, everything. I mean,
oh, cool.
And they all have like this is DSD, so I mean it sounds kick ass. Like seriously,
Oh yeah.
awesome. But all the pretty much all of them they go into all the bullshit, all the minutia of like what micro you probably ain't gonna be able to see it. What microphones were used, what they recorded it with, the kind of
on that Lou Tabakin record, Chris. They have a little map of that.
Yeah, and it's got like they have like this custom built digital converter or whatever. So they sound really good. I think that's it. Let me see. Oh no, there's more. This is probably my favorite Kenny Garrett record. So Trilogy. I don't know if you know this one or not.
Have you ever listened to African Exchange did it?
No, I have not. I need to get that.
That is really good. I wish they'd come out on vinyl.
Who's playing with Trilogy?
Huh? So it's Kenny Garrett. He's playing alto, and then Kiyoshi Kitagawa on bass with Brian Blade on drums. And then Charnette Moffat plays on 3 of the tunes on bass. So really kick ass.
Blade is always my favorite. Blade is in support of anybody else. He's just amazing.
Yeah.
With others.
It kind of reminds me. It's obviously a piano trio, so it kind of reminds me.
Pretty recent, right?
Let's see. Let me see if it says on here when it came out.
2016 or something.
I don't know. 1995.
Oh wow.
95. Yeah.
There's a recent one of him that has Pharoah Sanders on it, right?
I don't know.
That was a record store day record. You can get.
I have that one.
Yeah.
This is way better than that, though. This is kick ass. This is like, I don't know, Sonny Rollins, Charlie Parker, just virtuosic fire trio shit. Really kick ass. I listened to that one this week. What else?
He's real good. He's great to see live.
I bet. But
his shows, if you see him live once, you've seen all of his live shows, I guess I would say. His shows are very similar.
That's interesting and kind of unfortunate, I guess. I don't know. Be cool to hear something different when you see these dudes. But Joe Henderson, this Double Rainbow on Verve. All the Verve CDs are kick ass. This is all Joe Beam tunes though, so kick ass. This is one of my favorite CDs too. It's Enrico Rava with Paolo Frescu, Stefano Bolani, Enzo Pietro something. I can't speak Italian. And Roberto Gatto. So they're doing Miles Davis tunes, and this was recorded in Montreal on a French label called Label Blue, which I'd never heard of, but this is really good. I mean, they play Milestones on here, Blue and Green. Anyway, this is really excellent. There's also another one they did in Montreal, but it's not Milestones. I don't have that one yet though, but
that's really cool.
It's really kick ass. And these two, everybody's probably seen these before. They did these, and it's funny, they misspelled Eric Dolphy's name on the cover of this fucking thing. So stupid. They put an extra H on there for him. So it's like Eric Dolphy, Booger Little remembers live at Sweet Basil, right? So it's like a tribute to them. There's two of them. There's this one, and they have the same lineup. The other one's this one called Firewaltz. It's like volume 2, right? But it's it's Mal Waldron, Richard Davis, Eddie Blackwell, Donald Harrison, and Terrence Blanchard. So, and then live albums from Sweet Basil. Those were really awesome too. So, what else? Let's see. I haven't listened to those yet, so I won't even show them. Oh yeah, I did. Pull this one out, Dave, just for you.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Top 5 all time LP.
Been listening to my Vandermark CDs again lately.
Yeah, I see you post those quite a few times.
Yeah, I mean it's just awesome stuff. And then I've listened to this kind of late at night this week. This Charlie Hayden, Hank Jones. It's all like spirituals and hymns and stuff.
That album is such a soothing album.
Yeah, it really is. So that's it. All right, Dave, you're back up. Does your voice still exist?
Yeah.
Yep.
This was one that came in the mail.
Wow.
It was an SAJ title on FMP. This is one that Joe up in north of Rochester there found a few years ago. I've been looking for it for a ton of years because it's got a Sun Ra connection with Danny Davis on alto and flute with Takahisa Kosugi on violin and Peter Kowald on bass, the great German free jazz bassist. Mm-hmm. This one gets out, but in all the right ways. Recorded in 1986. It's really cool artwork, so that was a big one. Got that from Lars in Sweden, in Stockholm. Got this one at the convention in Clemens, Sun Ra. What is this? Discipline 27-2. Again, Danny Davis is on this too, playing really well. Along with Marshall Allen, John Gilmore, all the horns. Like the opening song, Pan Afro, is really good saxophone playing. The B side is a one-sider. It gets really bonkers. But I dig this one, and I didn't have it in any form, so this is some kind of reissue.
That is a cool cover.
Dave, how many Sun Ra records do you own?
Over 90 now.
Okay.
Over 90,
So
nearing 100.
second only to the Metal Theologian, probably, right?
Well, the problem is I think there's 275 proper releases. Somebody did a video that I think someone sent me a video to watch, but about
Eric at Mississippi Records has been he's produced a bunch of their. I mean, he must have 90 as well or something like that.
I'm getting up there.
I've got a lot of originals, but not that many.
He's got weird ones.
Did you get the cover book ever? Did you ever get that cover book?
No, because I have Omniverse and it's got them all in there.
Got it.
I don't really need it. It'd be if I run into it, I'll
need is not a word in this
like if I was in San Francisco and I was at City Lights, I'd buy it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I bought one that in Seattle, that the publisher, and I asked him if he had it when it came out. He goes, I do, but I have 2 dented copies in the back we just got. I'll give them to you for half price.
Heck
and it's
yeah.
It's a $75 book, so $37.50, and it literally had a little ding in the corner. But if you paid $75, you'd want it perfect. So it was and it was on the back. It's like getting like a
Did you buy them both?
No, I didn't want to be a greedy. No, I bought one.
You could give.
No, I'm not a flipper like Rob.
Give it to somebody, not.
No, but I mean, I thought
like Rob is. Come to my
that would have been greedy because the guy would know. Okay, maybe I should.
No, that's cool.
I didn't think
it would be a really nice gift, and you wouldn't feel bad about giving someone a $35 book.
Okay.
All right, who cares? Keep going.
This one's kind of jazz adjacent. This is Sandy Bull Fantasias for guitar and banjo with Billy Higgins on drums.
Cool. Oh, I love that. I just played that yesterday.
Yeah,
I love that record. It's rare. I've
been looking for years, and I did a trade at Lunchbox, and this is one I got in on the trade.
You never seen that? Or
Not
It's
here.
around.
Not here in
I,
Charlotte.
I see that record every day.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
have
watch
one
Dom's
for-
interview with the Fahey guy yet? I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Dom's interview with the guy that wrote the Fahey book.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I want to watch
Yeah,
it.
it's great. It's great. This came today in the mail. This is the Feldman
cool.
Brown that I won in the auction from Rob. He also threw in a box set of Beethoven that's kick ass. Yeah, this is kind of some out there stuff from, I think it was released in 62 but recorded in 60, 61 of some earlier material. This
But
is
it's kind of like
kind of avant classical.
Yeah, free classical music.
Yeah, it's not my favorite, but it's very hard to find.
Yeah, it's not easy to find.
I've only ever seen it once in a shop, and that was in Asheville at Harvest Records on the Wall. And they wanted a pretty penny for it.
So
But I
what
think
you're
it was a
saying,
mono.
Dave.
What's
So
that?
what you're saying is, even what you got it for in the auction was a good deal.
Oh God, yes, 40
less than what it
yeah.
goes for.
Yeah, they
Amazing.
wanted like 200 or something, but if they had a mono, but still, it ain't. They ain't no real big difference there.
Some dough.
That's all the records. If do you really want to see this box of CDs, Chris?
Yeah,
Pull out, just grab some random ones.
Yeah, grab a dozen.
Grab 75.
Do it while your signal's good.
Yes.
Don't set it on the mic.
Yeah.
So the story goes.
Hey, CJ made a joke. Congratulations.
Well, a friend of mine, his coworker gave him 300 jazz CDs. Just gave them to him, and he kept them in boxes up in Winston-Salem for over a year because he wanted me to go through them because he didn't know all the stuff that's in there. And there was a lot of newer artists in there, like what's the last name, Ogsby or something like that. Yeah, there was a lot of that stuff, and it's not the kind of stuff that he's into. He's into late 50s, early 60s stuff, or hard bop stuff is about as far as he goes. And there was a lot of that in there. There was full runs of Jackie McLean CDs, the really nice Blue Note ones, the Rudy Van Gelder editions. Every single Blue Note, like the ton of Coltrane, a ton of Miles, all this kind of stuff. So I separated it all out, gave him a huge stack that I thought he would want to listen to. Then there was the stuff that wasn't in either of our wheelhouses, so he's gonna try to trade that or whatever. And then he said, just take whatever else. Take the weird stuff, take the free avant stuff. So it ended up being a lot of ECMs, honestly, that was in there, and a lot of other things. But it's just a lot of these I've never seen before, and I imagine you can only get a lot of this on CD. So
yeah.
So first there's Matthew Shipp Quartet, Pastoral Composure. On
that
Thirsty
ECM?
Ear. And this one's on Thirsty Ear. Roy Campbell, William Parker. William Parker, you're going to hear it a lot in these lineups.
Yeah.
Gerald Cleaver drums.
Cleaver's great.
Are these like 2000s or 90s CDs?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Here's one, Charles Lloyd. The Water is Wide.
That's a beautiful album.
Yeah, this has got Brad Meldau, John Abercrombie, Larry Grenadier, and Billy Higgins.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I think Notes and Tones says that's excellent. You
all know this one?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Greatness.
Yes.
This is interesting because this is a promo version, and it's not listed on Discogs, of this Horace Tapscott, i.e. The Phantom.
Oh, that is a great. I just got a hold of that. That's a great album.
Yeah, it doesn't have the original artwork though.
Does it on?
Who's on?
Came out on CD or everything?
Only
CD.
Who's on?
CD only. Yeah.
Yeah, Reggie Workman and Andrew Cyril, to name a few.
Is it live or is it studio album?
I don't know. I haven't been able to get into these yet.
No.
David Murray Special Quartet. This is McCoy Tyner, Fred Hopkins, Elvin Jones.
That is a special question. Holy shit. Yeah.
It's on DIW from Japan.
Yeah.
Here's somebody that was talked about tonight from Big Ears, Vijay Iyer with Rudesh Mahanthapa, Raw Materials. This is on Savoy Jazz.
What do you got there, CJ?
This is the i.e. the Phantom.
Yes,
Oh,
that's the original artwork.
That's the original cover.
That's the original. Yeah, it's the original artwork.
Yeah.
It's Tapscott, Belgrave, Burton, Reggie Workman, and Cyril. It's really good.
Heck yeah.
It's really,
Here's another Rudresh Mahanthapa, Black Water, with Vijay Iyer on piano. Here's another Matthew Shipp. This is of the Essences Beyond Time special quintet. William Parker, Roy Campbell, Daniel Carter, who I really dig, is on this. Out of New York. Got a bunch of ECMs. Here's Anwar Brahim Trio, Strachan Cafe. This is some oud music with clarinet and some native instruments.
Oh, that's...
Somebody was talking about that as being one of the best oud albums you can find anywhere.
Yeah,
really? Yeah, it's supposed to be he's supposed to be a phenomenal oud player.
Yeah, there's a couple of his in here in this box. Ralph Towner Anthem, so some Ralph Towner solo, classical 12-string guitars on ECM. Let's see, John Sermon from the UK, Coruscating on ECM.
I don't have any of his stuff.
Who is
This is just with Chris Lawrence and some violins and cellos. You just showed this one.
Oh, yeah.
Cool, you got a copy. Another.
Another copy.
This one, somebody here would dig. Mal Waldron with David Murray.
I love that. That's awesome.
I have that one.
That's pretty recent.
It was lent to me.
Oh yeah, you showed that last week, didn't you?
One of my top favorite, greatest records ever, right here.
Yeah, that's a great record.
From the avant bop period, Moncore. This is one that my friend said I had to leave with. This was the only one that wasn't jazz. Strength in Numbers, the Telluride session. I guess it's bluegrass. I don't know. Find out. Oh, got Jan Garbarek with Ustad Fateh Ali Khan and musicians from Pakistan. ECM.
That could be cool.
August. Yeah, it does look cool.
Here's another Horace Tapscott thoughts of Dar es Salaam. And I'd never seen this. This is Billy Hart on drums with Ray Drummond on bass.
Oh,
sounds cool.
Trio.
It does sound cool.
This is some
CDs are cool, man.
Swedish stuff. Esbjorn Svensson Trio plays Monk.
Oh.
So what is it? EST they go by.
Yeah.
Here's a Polish CD, Krzysztof Komeda, Astigmatic. And this has got Tomasz Stanko on it, on trumpet.
Is that a digital recording? Isn't it?
Oh, this is an older record, I think, that was kind of reissued on CD or something like that. Another ECM is Egberto Gismonti Trio. I love his playing on guitar. So that was a good one. Now we're really getting into them here. Here's a Paul Bley with, this is Sankt Gerald. I don't know. ECM with Evan Parker and Bar Phillips.
Oh, that sounds cool. What songs can you just?
Yeah, this is it's hard to tell what's on this.
Okay, you don't have to. Don't stress.
Well, it just has variations 1 through 12, so it's one long 57-minute thing.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, that's going to be a two-side or one song.
Yeah, no shit.
Basically, if you had a LP, Gene Lee and Mal Waldron later in careers here. What's this called? After Hours on Owl out of the UK.
Yeah. That's neat. I've looked at some of their stuff. I don't have any of their records yet.
Yeah.
Or CDs, whatever.
Here's another UK John Sermon with John Warren, Tales of the Algonquin. On I don't know what label, on Vocalion.
Okay, yeah, I think I've streamed that before.
This is just stuff I picked out of the box. Out of the
Hey,
boxes.
CJ, I want to do the Twitch thing again, but I want to play CDs. But there's nothing to stare at like spinning if I'm just playing a CD. Like, what do I do? Just like put the camera on the fucking digital readout, like, you know.
Here's some free jazz stuff. David S. Ware, but it's a string ensemble with some violins and stuff. But it's William Parker bass, Matthew Shipp's on here on piano.
Does anybody know David S. Ware's music very well? I've been trying to get into his stuff, but it's
Joe does. Analog Archive.
Yeah,
he's gotten some of his records.
He's got a lot of. The reason I'm trying to get steered a little bit because he's got a lot of product. I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
This one I was happy to find because I missed out on the vinyl. This is Touching on Train from Charles Gale with William Parker and Rashid Ali.
Mm-hmm.
This is an imported CD on FMP, I think.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, that's a big one that was in there. This is a great record, Where Fortune Smiles from McLaughlin.
Was that ECM?
No, this is BGO Records. It's a British. This was a British release.
All right.
Came out on I forget the record label. It's an odd record label. The Shape of Jazz to Come. I didn't have this on record, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, I am too picky when it comes to this one.
I'm sick to my stomach. Turn in your jazz
Me
card.
too. Me too.
I've run it a million times, but it's always like some fucked off Russian boot or something. You know what I mean?
No, because I just bought it on the internet and it showed up perfect.
Yeah.
You have some Russian. What'd you say? Russian what?
Those DOLs are like Russian presses or something.
Except they're going to be cheap because that's the only country that doesn't have a tariff added.
Yeah, that's fair. That's true. That's a good point, Matthew.
So
VJ Iyer Trio Accelerando.
Even the Penguin music. Captain of Penguin
Hey,
Society.
next time you're communicating with your gravy train rep from Russia, Mazzy, can you put in a good word for Dave?
Yeah, exactly.
Just because my name is Maslov doesn't
Who's with him on that, Dave?
Maslovsky.
This is Crump and Gilmore. Stephen Crump and Marcus Gilmore on drums. This is gonna be good.
Yeah, looks good.
Iyer Trio. This guy had good taste.
Well, you're on the gravy. You're on the CD gravy train here.
I know. Here's another EST from Sweden, somewhere else before. I like this group really good.
Yeah, that looks cool. I think I've heard some of their stuff before too.
Sun Ra Orchestra, Jazz and Silhouette with John
Did
Gilmore.
you have that on? Did you have that on vinyl already or no?
Yeah, but I took all the Sun Ra that was in there.
Yeah,
because my friend don't care for it.
Right.
This one.
Oh, sick!
I love that record.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear it on CD actually.
William Parker Quartet with Hamid Drake. This is O'Neill's Porch on the
that's great.
AUM Fidelity label. I don't know.
Yeah, I've got a couple of those. Their CDs. That looks
Cheap
good.
heat on vinyl, but here's a free CD. Billy Hart.
Yes.
Nice.
That's a good one.
Enrico Rava Quintet, The Words and the Days on ECM.
Oh shit! Put that in my pile, bro.
For 07. Okay. We'll get you a little pile here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Jeff Palmer with Rashid Ali, Island Universe on Soul
Nice.
Note.
Oh, that looks cool. Who else is on there? There's some
Arthur
good
Blythe.
players.
Yeah, Blythe and Abercrombie.
Oh yeah.
This cover kind of sucks, but this looks very interesting, the lineup.
Yeah, dude, that looks crazy.
It'll be good, I'm sure. Oh,
That's
God,
it.
there's a lot here. I'm saving the best for last, too, or at least my favorite that I found.
Yeah. Yeah.
Henry Threadgill, Carry the Day. I don't know who's on
Composer
this.
of the year.
I don't know any of these players. There's tuba on it, so this one might hit the bricks.
Yeah.
Oliver Lake Quintet, Expandable Language. This is on, Black Saint? And it's got these stickers on here that are impossible to get off. We had a record store here called Manifest on South Boulevard. They put this on everything. Records, CDs,
No
right on
lighter
top.
fluid? Lighter fluid will do it.
Nope,
Yeah.
nothing.
You'd have to
These-
get new jewel cases, the only solution. But
You need Elon Musk to go to Mars, create
And
some
stay
kind of
there.
tool
Well,
with
hold on.
the primitive
we need
rock
him to
there,
go
bring
to
it
Mars
back
anyway.
and use it to get it
Yeah.
off.
Can we just shoot them into the sun instead? Like just
Yeah.
directly into the
Whatever
sun?
we got to do.
And he can take a
Fire
few
him off
friends
into a
with
black
him.
hole.
Actually, his blood could probably take that label off.
Hey, I gotta go, but nice seeing everyone. I love your stories, CJ, of the festival. I love and you and
Yeah,
Brooks.
that was
awesome.
great.
See you guys later.
Later.
See you, Mazzy.
Trying to go through these quick. Got
Yeah,
David
real
Murray,
quick.
Octet Ming.
Oh yeah,
Great.
That's a good one.
yeah. Mike's been talking about that record for a few weeks.
Pharoah Sanders. I don't know
What's
this one.
that? What's that?
Never seen that one.
Message from Home on
Who's he playing with
Verve.
on there?
I don't know.
That's probably Keith Best.
I don't know anything about it.
It
Doesn't say.
Verve. The Verve. Oh, we have to take the booklet out and look.
Yes.
Come on.
Can you teach him how to do that later?
Well, you also need to throw all the bill cases away. Just throw them in the trash.
Oh, here
CJ,
you go.
do you keep jewel cases for your
No.
CDs, or do you get rid of them?
I am still keeping jewel cases, but it's, as I'm buying more, it's becoming a question as to
Hey.
whether I should do it.
Nets
Exactly.
and Tones thinks that VJ is sexy.
Yeah.
Big group in this
He had to
with
take it
Hamid
twice.
Drake and Michael White on violin. All kinds of people.
Yeah. I bet that's
I'd
cool.
never seen it before.
I love
Kenny
those
Wheeler,
90s.
Dear Juan on ECM.
Oh man, you got some
Oh,
good
I have
shit.
the vinyl of that. It's good.
Yeah.
Not as good
This-
as the other one.
Y'all know
New
that one.
High.
Yeah.
Emergency. Yeah.
Where is it? Yeah.
That's
Y'all know this one.
a fun record.
Hi.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Y'all know this one.
I've never heard
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah. Never seen it.
This one's Anwar Brahim Thamar with John Sermon and Dave Holland. So some more
Yeah.
oud.
That's
Stuff,
more.
yeah. Dude.
This is a good one. Max Roach with Anthony Braxton on Hat Jazz from Switzerland.
Hmm.
Oh, oh. That looks
They
good.
cover up
too.
the sexy parts with that price sticker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Phil Woods Quintet.
Oh.
Hal
Oh,
Galper
who's
on
on
that.
put that in Mike's pile,
Oh,
in
Galper?
Chris's pile.
Yeah, definitely. Dude.
Chris's pile? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I got two in
absolutely.
Chris's pile now.
Yeah.
All right.
Nicole
Now we're getting to
refused
the good.
go
Now we're to
away.
my favorite, the good stuff here.
Yeah, good stuff already.
Well, my favorite stuff is like this William Parker with Hamid Drake. This is Eloping with the Sun.
Did you just mention this guy an hour Braun or something?
He just showed one of his records before.
He's the oud guy. He's the oud guy.
Dude guy. Okay, cool. All right.
Nobody
Matthew
really.
Ship Trio with William Parker and Susie Ibarra.
That's on
Oh,
Hot Hat Hut.
Mm-hmm.
We should ask Nicole. Does Nicole know the oud guy? The Anwar Brahim or whatever his name is.
This is Franz Koglman. We're Blue. I'm not sure about this one, but it's on Hatology, so I gave it that's going to be a good one, I'm sure. Now, this guy collected Tomasz Stanko from Poland, one of my favorite trumpet players in the world.
Yeah.
Wow, is that all Stanko?
And this is all Stanko CDs.
Put the Stanko on it.
And most of them are ECMs. So this one's Soul of Things on ECM. This one is with Matka Joanna. This is a quartet record. This one's actually made in Germany. This has got Tony Oxley on drums. It's a real out free player, but it's ECM related release. This one's from the Green Hill. I think this is a very expensive original on vinyl, but this is an ECM release. We got Suspended Night from the Tomasz Stanko Quartet. A lot of this is just with Polish players that I can't even pronounce their names.
Right.
If Minko is here, I'd put him to the test. This is Leozia with Bobo Stenson and Tony Oxley. This one should be really great. Mostly ECM. He must have had a big contract with them. Latania, music of Christoph Komedo, who we showed earlier. More Stanko. This one had Terry Ripdahl with Bobo Stenson, Pal Danielson, John Christensen on drums. This one's gonna be top notch. Manu Katché with Stanko, Garberick, etc.
Yeah. That's a ton of ECMs.
Yeah, Balladania. Some Dave Holland, Edward Vasala. That should be good.
Under the sticker.
Yeah, under the sticker, exactly.
Bobo Stenson, Oxley on this one. This one's Bossa Nosa. This one's on a different label. I don't know this label. It's kind of weird looking.
What is it? What label is
I
it?
don't know. So here you go.
Oh.
Some I don't know. Maybe German or Polish label. Not sure. Lantano Tomastenko Quartet with just Polish players on ECM. So a ton of ECMs. They're like these blue.
Yeah.
Now, are all
ones.
those Polish players on that album? They're playing the instruments from the other side, other end.
Oh.
What do you mean?
Polish. I'm Polish.
Oh,
Never
I got
mind.
you. No. Now, okay, so now we get to these were the ones I was most stoked about that I found in there. This is the more free end of stuff. This one was my favorite find in the collection. Kingdom Come from Charles Gale with Sonny Murray and William Parker.
Oh,
Put that in my pile.
Yeah. I wish I could, man. It's cheap actually online, $14.
I mean,
I
all
thought
the
it was some
CDs
kind
are
of crazy
all those
expensive
CDs
one.
are kind of cheap, right?
Oh,
No, actually, some of these were kind of
not.
up there.
Yeah.
Tony Oxley Quintet, The Baptized Traveler. This is about $150 to $300 original LP.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good one to be in there. Columbia actually put it out on CD. Sonny Schrock Asked the Ages.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wonder. I kind of wonder if that CD sounds better than the original.
Oh, we'll find out.
How was it recorded? Digitally?
Could have been.
Could have been. Wasn't it like 90 or something?
Yeah, I mean the vinyl that Vinyl Me Please put out sounds great.
Oh yeah, it's
but
I have the same one. It's good.
I streamed it forever, and that sounds really good.
They did this Sun Ra twofer. This is Cosmic Tones and Art Forms.
A twofer, nice.
Yeah. So that was a good one.
It's like you can fit much more music on a CD than a.
Yeah, especially two CDs.
This one's another. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is Matthew Shipp, William Parker, Susie Ibarra, Godspellized.
Wow. Bar is drums, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Ibarra on drums. This should be intense. This is on I don't even know this label.
I don't think Where is anything but intense from the stuff I listened from.
Yeah, that's got to be great. This one I was really stoked to see in the box. Khalil El-Zabar and Billy Bang on Delmark.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this should be great Chicago stuff.
Is that like a recent Delmark?
I don't know. This is
Here's a
2001.
question for you. I get
So
emails from Delmark, and all they're emailing me is new music.
Mm.
Right.
Do they not try and sell their catalog?
I don't know. This is
Their
2001.
website gave me AIDS when I went to it trying to buy records, so they don't sell much money. It's horrible, dude. It's terrible. Their website's working too bad.
Everybody's favorite.
Yeah, you can
Where's
just
Mike?
play that. Like, I don't know.
Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah, Mike. Where's not Mike Notes and Tones, but Connecticut Mike.
Yeah, he lost hair when he listened to that for the first time.
Julius Hemphill Quartet, Flat Out Jump Suite.
Yes,
I've got that on
I have the
vinyl.
vinyl of that one.
Abdul
That's great.
Wadud. Anything Abdul Wadud, I'm going to pick up.
Yeah.
Olodara's got a sweet trumpet sound too.
Yeah, Anthony Braxton, 6 months monks compositions.
That is excellent.
That's
awesome.
high on my want list. Yeah.
Got your guy on there, Rob.
Yeah, dude.
I know.
Now
I found it on vinyl for not that expensive.
Really?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
This is a guy I don't have a lot of stuff of.
Something?
I don't have a lot of John Zorn. So this was a big good one. The big gun down.
You know, where
Is
he
that
does
Trevor?
Enrico Morricone. I saw the vinyl of that, but I
Really?
think it was like a reissue, like a UK reissue.
Anthony Davis with Abdul Wadud and James Newton.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Gramavision.
They did tons of albums together.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grand Vision's good level too.
Another David S. Ware. This was Go See the World.
Hey, where's collection list?
That's good. That's really good. I think you're gonna
Matthew
like it.
Shipp, William Parker, Ibarra again. And then this is a crazy one. This is a double. This is John Zorn and Issachar, the Circle Maker from John Zorn, and the Masada String Trio from Issachar. It's a double. I don't even know how this thing opens up, but there it is. It's got some booklet stuff in there, and heck yeah. So I got some Zorn out of this. That's everything. It was a lot.
Good run.
Nice.
You know, I only have one Zorn record,
Oh, really?
I need to find out what are the ones to get. I have one that I sold to Breakfast King, I think.
Well, Naked City's the one you want, and there's a couple others, but the only time I've ever run into them, everybody wants an arm and a leg for them, even if they're trashed. So
actually, I regret I went to the flea market and the seller had a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't crazy expensive.
Yeah, I see. I screwed up too. I went to a convention a while back, and he had a bunch of these Eugene Chadbourne records. Some are cheap, but then some are with Chadbourne. It's either super cheap or it's like $300. So I left them all there except for one. I got the one with Frank Lowe, and I only paid like $5 for it, and it goes for, Bob Shop was asking probably 300 at one point. They've lowered their price to probably 200 or 150, but because they can't sell it because it's too wild of a record. But I left all that stuff there, and then I saw that guy at the convention recently in Clemens, and I asked him, "Do you still have those Chadbourne records?" Because I was going to buy the lot. He goes, "No, all the dealers came over and scarfed them all up from me." I was like, "Well, they did that because you only got like $5 on them, and they go for a lot more."
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to get.
Just because something's rare and expensive doesn't mean it's good or that you're going to enjoy it,
No, it's. But I know somebody like out in California that digs that stuff, and I could send him to him. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
sure.
so,
No, absolutely.
Michael out there in the San Fran area, he loves Chadbourne. So I was going to send him to him if I didn't care for him, So because he's been playing some of that stuff on his channel, and I was like, yeah, I'll pick all those up. And I like the one with Frank Lowe enough. It is kind of bonkers though. But nobody was really doing guitar stuff like that too much then.
Yeah.
There were free jazz guitarists. This is something else. This is. Yeah, I guess you had to have the right combination of drugs. But
I mean, I usually try to pull that off. Usually it works out.
Guys, that's a lot of listening to do. I mean, I'm
Dude,
kind of
yeah,
stuck for about a year here with. I don't really need to buy anything else for a while.
Well, the interesting thing that we talked to the guy from Coleman Records that we interviewed about CDs versus vinyl, and the stuff that was recorded during the CD era, it can be kind of crazy because they can put 70 minutes on a fucking CD. So like,
oh yeah,
even if you like it, like after about 50 minutes, I'm like, okay, fucking end already. Like something else.
Like I talked to my friend who puts these out, and I go, put it on like that Maiden Voyage book that they put out last year. That's excellent.
Yeah.
That's 7 CDs. He laughed in my face about the prospects of putting it on vinyl.
No, it'd be like 14 records or something, right? Like,
yeah. So,
are any of you guys gonna get that 6 LP box on an RSD?
Rob, I already have the 2 albums that they put out in the early 2000s.
Yeah, the Shandars.
I can't imagine needing to have to listen to 6 albums of that.
Yeah, I'm debating.
What is it? What kind of Sunrom? What kind of music?
It's a live show. It's a live show they did in the 90s. When did it was? No, 70s.
Yeah, in France.
In France.
Is it really good?
Is it funky at all, or is it?
Nah, I mean, no, it's not crazy, but it's not funky.
I think it's got good intensity to it.
Something like a good CD box for me, something like that. I'm kind of.
I will say, I thought for sure something like that would be $300 on an RSD. It's $170.
We can find out because some of the sites now will post the prices.
Yeah,
like there's that. Yeah.
Dave, if you got it, how often do you think you'd listen to it though?
Twice.
Period. Like everything else we all have. Yeah.
Twice.
I guarantee you the majority of my collection I've listened to twice.
Yeah, I'm trying to get over that.
I'm less than one on most of the records I get.
Yeah, no shit. Rob's never heard an actual vinyl record.
No.
Yeah, he's never.
No.
I know very little about music.
He just
These
goes,
I've already
I
spun
have
like
that.
7 times.
I
Like
actually
7 inches.
I can't
Yeah,
tie
okay.
any music I've listened to an emotional point in my life.
You can't or can?
Cannot.
Okay, well, I'm gonna try
Explain
something today.
Except one song, when the lights went out in Georgia. I can tie that to a lot of situations in my life.
Yeah, that's fair.
You can't no Roxy Music Avalon. That doesn't work.
No. Yes, actually, that is a lot of sex was made to that record.
Of course.
Thievery Corporation.
I call it baby making music.
I had it in high school. So you guys want to? I'm going to show 5 records.
That is a great that is a great.
Yeah, that
one.
one's pretty good. My wife loves it. I'm just going to show. So I just been selling, and I'm going through like trying to figure out like I guess I have like 1,500 jazz records, and if I could get it down to 150, what would they be?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh boy.
So I'm going through records, and some of these are expensive and some of them aren't. But I'm like, this is a really good record that I listened to definitely more than twice.
Mm-hmm.
Probably more like, I've listened to every one of these like at least 20 times. And I think I listened to one of them like 30 times. But, and they're not, but they're not like your usual suspects. I'm not going to show something else. I'm not going to show Ascension. I'm not going to show Saxophone Colossus. None of those great records that everybody has. Okay, so I'm going to start off with this one. This record's fantastic.
Yeah. Everyone has that record.
Yeah,
I know.
that's
Well, everyone here has it.
Actually,
that out there. It's a $10 record. I mean, it's insane that it's still so
it
cheap.
Used to be.
Okay, well, I saw it for $10 like 2 months ago.
It took me a long time to find that one.
That's a great record.
Bobby Hutcherson, Gary Bartz, Azar Lawrence, Buster Williams, Billy Hart, Mtume, and Guillermo Franco. That's the band on a $10 milestone.
It's
$20.
great.
Let's say it's $20 now.
I like all the Tyner shit on Milestone. I have all of them. They're great.
Yeah, this one is the best though. Sahara's really good too, but this one kind of blows them all away.
That's better. That's better.
Yeah.
I think that one just kind of blows all of them away. Okay, this is the one I've listened to more than 20 times. So I think you should find a CD. It's hard to. The originals are like getting up to like $200 or probably more now. So I would say go find the CD.
What is it?
This is just one of those records that you can play over and over.
It's Mal Waldron The Call, which is he does it with all those krautrock guys.
It's a Japanese or a German?
Yeah, there's 2. Eberhard Weber and Fred Raceful are on it, but it also has Jimmy Jackson on organ. So it is.
Was it Preston Japan?
Huh?
Preston Japan?
No, that one is German.
Yeah, this is the Japo. But there's also a plain white cover one.
I have that one with just the writing on it.
But I think this one was way cooler.
Okay.
There's just a plain white. It just says The Call, Mal Waldron, Fred Braceful. It just has the band. But this is something. Find a way to get it on whatever format you like. It's just worth having. This one, this is my favorite Kenny Barron. So, and it's a trio plus 2 percussionists. So it's, I guess technically it's a quintet, but you know what I mean. It's a standard jazz trio plus 2 extra percussionists. So, but this is one of those records I can listen to over and over, and it is Kenny Barron, Bob Cranshaw, and Freddie Waits is your standard, and then you got Richard Landrum on conga. And miscellaneous percussion, and Warren Smith on vibes and miscellaneous percussion. So this is just one of those, it's like got all the goodness of 70s. It could be like a movie soundtrack at some points, but it's like a good movie soundtrack for your life. Like this album sounds really good when you're driving. You know, like you just put it on, or you could
How
just
do you get
relax.
your record player in your car?
Or you go find it on CD.
Yeah. What label is that on, Brandon?
It's on Muse.
All his Muse records are pricey, except for one.
Yeah, I was going to say that one's really creeped up.
Yeah,
this one has really creeped up. This one I got a couple of years ago in the shrink, sealed, completely sealed.
Wow.
What do you got there, Rob?
Before it got crazy expensive, but after it had gotten somewhat expensive.
I found that record on Etsy, and Billy from Billy's Record Salon goes, "You took it out of my cart," and I bought it. This is the one I have.
Yeah, that's is that the German or no?
This is Japanese.
Japanese. Okay, well, so that one's anyway. I forget what that one. Anyway, everyone has this, but this is a great record. That's not that expensive. I think it's probably $50 now, right?
60.
Yeah, it's creeped up a bit.
I got this for $20 not too long ago, maybe 2.5 years ago. I love this record. It's just a fun record to play all the time. And then I'm gonna do. This is the last of the 5. I'm just gonna do 5. I'll do 5 next week if you want.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So this is Wishes. This is the Wishes band. Kochi is the record, and it is a really cool. This is a fusion record, but like just the perfect amount of frenetic funk, like all the good things, like the good things that you think of when you think of In a Silent Way or Bitches, like good, all the stuff that you like about good fusion. And it is Masabumi Kikuchi, and he plays mostly a Rhodes on this, but he plays acoustic piano too. And he's like with all those Kasuke Mine, Tera Masahino. He did that Joe Henderson with Tera Masahino and Masabumi Kikuchi. This also has Tera Masahino, Steve Grossman and Dave Liebman on sax, Reggie Lucas on guitar, Anthony Jackson on bass, Al Foster on drums, and M. Toomey on congas. This is an all-star international East meets West meets M. Toomey. This record is so good.
Yeah, I need that. I've never found a copy.
And I think this is still like a $30 to $40 record, I think.
It's not bad.
I mean, it's not insane.
I need to look next time I'm in Bob's shop in the basement. Surely there's a copy in there.
So that's number 5. So those are 5 records that I would take to a desert island or whatever,
Or on a drive.
Huh? Or on a drive. Or on a drive to a desert island. I love driving to desert islands. It's awesome.
Yeah, you've spoke highly of that record a few times.
Yeah, it's just I come back to it. It's one of those where I'm like, this is really good. You kind of go, oh, this. I mean, there's a bunch of records like I could talk about a bunch of milestone Joe Hendersons that I play a lot too, but everyone knows those. But these are records I feel like. I guess everyone does know Samalayuka, but it's still a record to get, and it's still affordable.
I was a little late to try to get those Hendersons. They shot up in price so quick. They were the first. I think they were when the boom hit. They were like the first to go.
They went from
3
like
figures.
35 to 50 to 150.
Yeah, they just jumped. It was like, oh, okay,
And I always thought, oh, they'll never go up, and then they did. And same with the Muses.
Yeah, the Muses. The Muse ones kind of really. Well, you don't see them that much, so maybe
the
that's
Muse ones went insane though. They were like in 2 years they went from like 20 to like insane amounts of money.
Yeah, the Muse kind of really is weird to me because it doesn't have the appeal to me like to pay that much for a record. You know what I mean? I don't know.
In my feeling from looking for records, the Muse ones that go for money are kind of level up jazz.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of Muse.
Some of it's just junk.
Not all, but like you can get all those Sonny Stitt, which are fantastic records.
Yeah, they're good.
They're fine. I mean, it's kind of they're all sort of the same, but they're good.
but they're fantastic. Or, Ornette Cobb live at the Fart Box or wherever.
Yeah. I like the Ricky Ford has a bunch of cheap Muse records that I like.
Yeah, I mean,
Actually,
and they're almost all white label too.
Yeah,
but those are
good
like
promo.
the Ricky Fords are like the later ones. There's all the Larry Carell ones. They're later ones, and I think they found a bunch of dead stock. You can get those sealed, but I picked up not Ornette, Zoot Sims, Al Cohn.
Oh yeah,
with George Duvier and Kenny Barron.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds excellent. It really does sound very good. It's a good album.
Yeah, Zoot did a bunch of stuff in the 70s, kind of getting back with, I don't know, getting back to his roots, I guess. Zoot's roots.
Brandon, I'm going to leave this one out to play.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I haven't listened to this in so long.
I would have to find mine to be able to play it.
This one belonged to a public radio station in Endwell, New York. It's got this big old fat radio sticker on it.
Is it on the front?
Yeah, it's stuck on the front.
Oh
but,
well, it's cool. I like some. It's all part of the. It's all part of
well,
the.
it was it's got the how they filed it in their filing system. At the radio station.
Yeah, sometimes I like when they have different color codes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
like
they've been doing that collection from France on permanent. That's got the little like stickers on the top that are all different colors. That was part of some strange collection.
Yeah, my dad worked at this radio station. It was like, red was like funk.
Yeah.
Brown was soul, like blue was jazz. Like they all had these different color labels for what it was. So you could just, because I don't think anybody was good enough to alphabetize. So they just put this, it'd just be the section.
This is a good topic though. Cause I don't mind buying records that belong to radio stations. Look at this collection that Dylan has. And the guy just sold them the rest.
They used a Sharpie to write the name all over it.
I love records with a stamp on them. I love like preview copy or
here's a good one.
Something like that.
Cecil Taylor still has the card
from the library.
The library card thing.
I'm very nervous about library records. I've had some of them have been well loved. But,
yeah,
absolutely.
Hey,
what are you gonna say?
Someone sent me a British site for the Sun Ra box. Yeah. It's not going to be that much. What does that convert into dollars?
About 175.
Yeah, that's not horrible.
No, it's not. I was shocked. I thought it'd be $300.
Right there's the
$30. So $30 a disc.
Yeah.
So I have back in the early 2000s, someone put out really nice versions of 2 discs from these shows. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. A CD box would be cool.
Can I pop up a couple, Chris?
You can pop up 100, dude. Yes.
I'll pop up just a few. I'll just pop up a few. This one came from Mr. Waxed here. Huey Simmons. I've been looking for this one for a long time.
You got a better deal than I did when I found mine.
You were very generous. I really appreciate it. I'm a huge Sonny Simmons fan.
No, that's a great record.
It's a double. It's beautiful. It's
sweet.
What year is that?
1970. It's a
70
double disc.
71. Yeah.
A lot of people on it.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
You have to open it up.
Oh, that's the contemporary one.
It's
Huey. Alex found me a copy a couple years ago.
It's Huey. He went by Huey. Excuse me.
So trying to share this.
Is that Cecil too? That's Sonny Simmons.
McBee's on it.
Cecil's in one channel and Richard Davis is in the other channel.
Yeah.
Barbara Donald, of course. Mike, I think that's Michael White there. I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Barbara Donald always kills it. Cecil's there in the top right, and then Clifford Jarvis is
yeah.
So it's a really solid. It's a really good. I've been a burner for a long time. And this one, I don't know. There's the color I associate these two albums together, but this is completely different. AACM.
Oh yeah, the McIntyre.
Maurice McIntyre.
Yeah.
This is a lovely album.
I bought that off a wall.
I bought this at a record show. They actually had this at. I passed on it at New York, but I saw them again at a show in DC. The guys from Philly, Dave. Do you know who the guys from Philly are? You know what I'm talking about? They had all kinds of crazy stuff there at that show. They were only there. You weren't there the second day. They were only there.
I was there the second day, but I was over by where the kids were playing, sitting at that table, dying.
You weren't feeling very good, if I remember.
No, man, I was in rough shape. There was no alcohol involved the night before either.
So I saw a late version of this one, Dudu Pequana, and it looked like it was a crappy cover. It looked horrible. It had clearly been remastered, and the reviews for it were horrible. But then I went ahead and searched out I listened to it, and it was amazing. So I searched out the original.
Now I haven't gotten into him, but there's an Heirs to Freedom record of his that's cheap, and you can find you sort of can find
the
it.
same thing. Who knows?
And this one's got. I don't think this is the Heirs to Freedom, but this one's got Louis Mahalo on drums, who's a really solid drummer.
You see his name on anything, you buy it immediately.
And then there's a bunch of names I can't. Mungezi Feza on trumpet, Bizo again, I can't pronounce these names on tenor and percussion. They all kind of chip in and play percussion and vocals. And then Harry Miller sounds like a name some people are familiar with. His own bass guitar. And this is the one
that's a rare name. You never hear that really.
UK guy.
And then this one has the Caroline label. It's like a super perverted label. I mean, it's got two virginal looking girls on the cover. I don't know if it's a Virgin joke or what it is.
No, that's Virgin.
That's Virgin's label. That's creepy. It's just creepy.
That's Virgin. Virgin Records.
I believe you then. God, that is
kind of have a few Caroline records.
And then
I
listened. I was buying the Dudu Pequana, and I was trying to see what else to get with it, and this one popped up, and it's just phenomenal. I love the
he does my Moon on it.
Clark and Jimmy Hops. Yeah, and Mamoon is the song you're saying, the first one.
Yeah, that's the one that everyone does of his, but that's it stripped down to its essence.
I've been really getting into Cow lately.
Well, then go buy all those cheap Heath Brothers records.
Yeah,
he's on all of them.
These ones are really. Let me see if I can pull them up. The Dark Tree albums, the two Dark Trees, they're CDs only. These are phenomenal. These are must buys.
Okay. Noted.
There's two of them. They come as a double set, or you can get them as two individuals. Yeah, there's two individuals, or you can get a double that includes both of them. There's a recent re-release that includes both of them, but I think those are fantastic. So we're getting into CD mode because I grabbed a pile. This is unbelievable. And there's another. It's Abdul. This is Hemphill and Wadud. Just the two of them. There's two of them. There's another one. There's another one also that's just. Again, tremendous.
Wadud is just a monster,
and the two of them together are just they push each other, and it's really fun to hear them go crazy.
Did you get the reissue of the solo record that he?
I did not. I keep trying to like it, and I'm just not over the hump yet.
Okay, yeah, I dig it. I dig it.
I sold it. I didn't like it.
No,
no.
I dig it.
I like it.
It's a little abstract, you know.
I mean, if you like solo bass records, which I have a lot, I have Richard Davis, I have Dave Holland, solo bass records are good.
Yep. This I don't know if anybody's heard of David Boykin, but this is an AACM guy, and he's got so on this album are Nicole Mitchell, Josh Abrams is on bass, Nicole Mitchell's on flute and piccolo, and then I don't know the other two. There's a vocalist, Marquisha.
Chicago scene.
Yeah, this stuff's really, really cool and out there. There's a couple albums by him that I'm really enjoying, but he's a fun kind of different kind of player.
I thought it was cool. There was was it Drag City or what label put out the album of his? Let me see if I can find it.
He has his own label too with a really weird name. I forget. It's like it sounds like it's a church or something.
This would go on my desert island too as well.
Okay. I was so thrilled to listen. It was like amazing. It's just amazing.
And you should play it with that Kenny Barron.
Oh yeah,
Sunsets of Dawn.
Here it is. Thrill Jockey put it out.
That that is so hard to get now. I've been looking
that's a hard one to get.
Yeah, it is hard to get now. And I've got the CD that goes with it.
But that got reissued, right? Didn't that get reissued?
It might have been. I don't know. This came out in '99.
Oh yeah,
maybe not.
Oh.
It has an interesting.
So this is a CD by that same band. It's a crappy cover. It really is. But it's a CD reissue. It's the Life on Other Planets Volume 2, and you've got you just showed Life on Other Planets Volume 1.
Yeah, I need that CD.
This is released. I think you can find it today on. I'm pretty sure they had it recently on Dusty Groove.
Oh,
but
cool.
His label is Sonic Healing Mysteries. It's
nice.
Yeah, but I think that's what he's releasing everything on lately. But yeah, I really want to get that Thrill Jockey one you just showed. That's high on my priority list.
Yeah, sure tearing me onto this one.
Yeah, it's great. It's
because it's got that Conundrum song, which is kind of sounds like Monk, which it sticks out. It's weird. It doesn't really fit, but it's still great. Yeah, and this is early stuff from Abrams and Mitchell. Very early for them. They were young. Same with Chad Taylor. This was what, 26 years ago?
Everybody's seen I don't know if everybody's seen the Sarah Hanahan album yet, but that's definitely a must. On the CD side, that's a must buy. I saw her locally, and she's fired. She's a young artist, but she trained with Abraham Burton, and Jazz Lincoln Center helped her to produce the album. She's played with jazz. She's played with that group for a while, and she's definitely on the way up. Lastman describes her as a combination of Coltrane and McLean influences. So that's a pretty reputable combination.
Yeah,
she's good. She's really good, and on the way up.
Rob, do you think we need to have CJ show his hands on the stream just to?
I don't know, but I'm curious if he trims his nose hairs.
Yes.
Show my hands. Are my hands off the screen? Is that the issue?
It's just we're at an angle. It's similar to mine, but I'm able to kind of get in there. So
there we go.
Chris, did I ever send you your last pile that you had over here?
I don't know.
In the mail?
Was in it?
I don't know. CDs.
You sent me a couple of CDs, yeah.
Okay, good. Because I kept I was just thinking I'm starting another pile, and I'm like, I wonder if I even sent the other ones from.
No, you never sent it. Just find some other CDs to throw in there. It's fine. It's fine.
Hey, I'm cleaning records for my next time I do an auction, probably in a couple weeks. But I found another copy of this record. This is a kick-ass record. I feel like the Brecker brothers kind of maybe when in the early 70s, mid 70s, they were into kind of the funk jazz, right? This is killer. This is Van Gelder did it, but it's produced by Duke Pearson, and a lot of the songs are written by Hal Garapper.
Galper.
But this is a good. This is a kick-ass record.
Yeah, I like that lineup.
That looks great.
So this will be in my next auction. It's on Solid State.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I gotta take off, but I'm gonna do one last. Go buy the reissue of this.
Yes.
Can I ask a question about that? Because somebody was saying this recording quality was not that great. It was not that great on that. Are you
on the original?
Yeah, and they said on the reissue, they said it's an issue on the reissue too.
Oh no, this one sounds great. I don't know the reissue. I mean, it doesn't.
I didn't notice anything like that.
It sounds very good. Like I'm not gonna say it sounds like an ECM record, but it
got it.
No, it's good. It's good.
But I would assume if it's the master tape, this is a cool sounding record. and it's got a lot of. It does sound good. You know why? Because this has a lot of empty space in it and a lot of quiet parts.
Okay.
And this does sound good. So I think either the person you talked to got a bad copy,
or they're crazy.
It could be a little bit
But
crazy.
you know what? Here's a tip for
this
you.
This is a good sounding Strata East. Strata East has a few that don't sound great, but this is not one of them. This sounds very good.
Cool, thank you.
I have a tip for you, CJ.
What?
Sign up for the Mac Avenue newsletter, and they give you 15%
I
off.
see you guys.
All right.
Buy the record from them.
That sounds good.
I'll just show the stack, and then I'm probably going to take off if you don't.
Yeah, probably.
Sounds good.
I found a copy of this. So I know this is coming out. What are you doing? I know this is the Procrastinator's coming out as a tone pod, right?
Yeah.
But the other record on here, this is the only way you can get it, right? So the Procrastinator is the first one. Wayne Shorter, Bobby Hutcherson, Herbie Hancock, Ron Carter, and Billy Higgins. The second record is Killer, Julian Prester, George Coleman, Harold Mayburn, Walter Booker, and Mickey Roker.
Oh, very nice.
And inside, there he is, playing his. Did they ever talk? He never takes a pictures playing that, right? Flugelhorn or whatever it is.
It's just a
I
trumpet.
think it's just a trumpet with the bell pointed up in the air. Dizzy did it as well.
Yeah. That's what he played, right? Did he steal it from Dizzy?
I don't know.
It's just a design thing. I think it's just a design thing. It's not a separate instrument. It's just a way.
Not as sonically different sounding.
Oh well, the idea is that you're going to get more volume because you're shooting it. Apparently, you get more volume because it's coming out high instead of
spread it out.
Less of a bird poop, so it'll lay right in there.
Yeah.
This is pretty good. This is on Interplay, which is I think an LA-based label. But this is a nice trio record.
I don't know that. I've never heard of him.
If you've never seen this record, I have it. I found another copy. But this is a great lineup. Look at this. Look one. You got Kenny Wheeler, Evan Parker, Jenny
Clark. Yeah.
Tom Werner, Grimberg.
That does look good.
Yeah, this is a good album. This is good. I don't think
Miller.
it's expensive. I showed these before. I found this Japanese greatest hits. Sounds really good.
I've never seen that.
It's Japanese.
Huh. That's cool.
And, I've mastered the flattener. In fact, the record store asked me to do them a favor, and they gave me credit. They had a Mazzy Star record that sells for like $300, but I had a big warp, and I flattened it perfectly. I made it listen to it. But I found this for 50 cents with a big warp and flattened perfectly. So I'm going to sell this because I turned a 50-cent record. This goes for like $25 or more. So
I used to have that cassette.
Well, you could have the record next auction. I couldn't show the other records I picked up for my friend, his record store day records. They're not jazz, but here, this is their big record store day record. The Rembrandts. This has the song that made them $1 billion. You know the song, right?
No.
From Friends. The theme song to Friends. I'll be
okay. Jesus Christ.
And then they have a second. It comes in 2 discs where they have a bunch of extra stuff.
Right.
And then Doc Pumice wrote a lot of songs for Elvis, so this is the demos of those songs.
Oh.
Huh.
This is really good. So this isn't that far removed from. This is a double album of Francois Hardy, who passed away.
Ooh, that'll be
not
great.
too long ago. But all her singles from Vogue.
Oh, cool.
This I streamed this. I haven't opened it yet to listen to it, and it's good.
That'll be good.
So this is probably their big.
Was that Blossom Dairy Box all on Vogue, or was it Decca? I can't remember now.
I don't know, but this is going to be their. This is Record Store Day, and this probably will sell out for them. So I'm happy that they're going to have a record that will sell out. What else?
Yeah.
He gave. This is some bands are. This is a one album that got put out. I think the band came to them, asked them to release it. It's power pop from the early 2000s. And then I don't know if you ever heard of Nellie McKay.
No.
But she was sort of like when it was like the early 2000s or mid 2000s that she was sort of the singer-songwriter antidote to like Britney or something. She was popular for a bit.
I saw her perform. I saw her perform with Amy Mann, and she was like this. One song, she was a German chanteuse, and then another song, she's like this super high voice, squeaky kid. She's got a lot of talent. And she's fun.
That's like when she came out. That's the way they kind of sold her. So, all right, that's all I have to show. This is killer. This is really good. Yes. Especially if you grew up.
Vinyl Richie recommended too. Buck Owens.
Which one?
Buck Owens.
That dipshit lives in Bakersfield. You have to say that when you live there.
Yeah, it's fair.
Fair enough.
Does anybody? I don't even know what this is. I wonder if anybody else does. How about this though? I haven't listened to it yet. It's oh shit, I made myself big. I don't even know if it's jazz though. It was in the jazz section, and the cover looked cool, so I bought it.
Yeah, it's a great cover.
Trevor Powers, some guy named Trevor Powers. A bunch of people I've never heard of, but anyway. It's got cello on it, drums, bass, guitars, percussion, synth. I guess I can read the screed on the inside to figure out what it's about. But I thought it looked cool, so.
Who's on cello?
Let me see. Cello.
Hey.
Where the hell is it? What?
Nothing. Listen to it. Let's know what it sounds like.
Heather McIntosh on cello.
What year is that from?
I don't know. Hang on.
Hey, Levin, it takes me less than 5 minutes to box a record, wrap it up, and slap a label on it. Seriously, I'm not even joking.
Anyway, it's got cool labels too. So
yeah, that looks like it has potential for sure.
Yeah, I need to clean it because it's filthy.
It's like our friend Tice calls it a deaf buy, not a blind buy.
Yeah,
you ain't heard it.
It's like. But that's the way we used to buy records. You didn't get to hear them or stream or anything like that. You just like took a
they had listening booths, right? You could have
sometimes they did, but really early. Tower Records didn't really have listening booths and those kind of places.
Like you grew up in DC, right?
Yeah.
We had one of the best stations for new cool music, WHFS.
HFS.
Everyone I grew up with, we would listen to that and find out all the cool records.
But you'd hear once, and to be fair, you would hear one song from the album and then take a shot.
Okay. Remember every Sunday night on DC 101,
they play a half of an album.
Play like 7 records, and I would record them.
I did too.
I had Tom Petty, what was it? Was the album called The Waiting? I had that album for years on cassette from recording it off the radio.
I remember In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida was also very popular for those late night shows because you could get 20, it's a 24-minute song or whatever. So
right. Yeah.
Did you have a DC Star record?
I did not have a DC Star.
Do you remember DC Star?
So I went to go see.
I probably buried that memory.
I forget what I went to go see at the Capitol Center. It was a big giant band. I want to say maybe Journey or somebody like that. And the opening act canceled. And DC Star was big around DC, Baltimore and stuff. And they picked them to open. And they were so excited. It was like the best show they ever played. But then, or a Kicks record from Baltimore or
I saw Kicks open for, I'm trying to remember what show. I think I saw him open for Judas. Kicks, then Iron Maiden, then Judas Priest, I think, at the Baltimore Civic Center.
I went to Capitol Center was Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, and Crocus.
Yeah, I
Crocus.
Yeah.
But Hammerjacks.
I never went to. It's bizarre, but I never went to Hammerjacks.
Everybody saw Jellyfish there. That's where I went and saw Jellyfish.
What about the Black Cat? I'm sure you've been there.
Yeah.
That's after I left DC. I think the
But you probably went to the 930 Club.
The old 930 Club.
The old 930 Club. Yeah, the old 930 Club.
But there was the Bayou, like you said, and I think there's a famous Neil Young record he recorded at the Bayou. I think there's a Miles Davis recording at the Bayou.
Yeah, there is.
There's also CNR. All the cool bands would always play the Smith Center.
Did you see Psychedelic? You ever go to the Psychedelic?
That was around.
It was in Wheaton. It was small. Yeah,
Wheaton. Wow.
Yeah.
There was also, when I go back and visit my sister, there's Jam and Java. Do you ever go to
Jam and Java? And now they book those guys, those brothers, they book for Howard Theater. They book for like Howard Theater, Pearl Street Warehouse. They book for like 5 clubs now. So they're the ones that book, for example, the Sun.
Cellar Door Miles. Okay.
You go to Decibel Music?
I do go down there some of the time. Although my go-to still, it's Rob knows, it's Depot.
You know, that place is probably the best selection, big, but he's still right now, while vinyl's going down, he still prices a little high.
I agree. You can
but their new section, that records that just come in, is huge. Yeah. It literally will take you an hour to go through all those records.
It's so much volume. That's the thing. You've got to be committed because it's unsorted. It's unsorted volume. And he doesn't. I don't know. Have you ever been to what's the records? Human Head in Brooklyn, where they list it all by date. Human Head has it broken down by date, so you know what's been picked through and what's new.
I used to go to New York for business all the time, but I wasn't collecting vinyl then. So.
Yeah.
You said it's unsorted. Is it unsorted by genre too? That drives me insane.
No, the new, like it's at Record Safari, it's not by genre. Their new section, you just have to go through it.
But their new section is reasonable. But their new section is reasonable. It's like that one section. It's in front of both those two sections. It's not as big as CD Seller is a commitment.
No, well, they actually put in another rack of new releases.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's gotten more.
Okay. But look, that's again, whatever people label me as, my number one thing is digging, is looking through records. That's what I like doing.
Yeah.
So. Same. I love digging and finding stuff while you're out.
Me and Matt are gonna go digging.
I'd say Decibel is good. But the last time I went there wasn't as good as the first time I went.
Decibel he's putting out now. He's got the collection of the guy that ran that label that put out Sun Ra, Black Mass, and that Sonny Murray record. So he's put out some original Sun Ra Saturns, all kinds of crazy shit right now.
It's
they're not cheap.
They're episodic. You don't know what he's going to put out. I mean, I never know what he's going to put out.
Plus, the worst thing about DC and record shopping is you need a car, and it's hard to find parking. Because taking public transportation, DC public transportation is excellent, but not for record stores. They seem to be positioned in places.
The rent
close to the station, but
the rent record store requires below something near to a metro. You're right.
So CJ, the last time I went back, I was hanging out with Chris Thomas.
So
Just Custody, which has a nice store in
Joint
DC.
Yeah.
Their second location, which is in Maryland and Tacoma Park.
It's in Tacoma Park, yeah.
Is great. You should go there.
All right. I haven't been there yet. Actually, somebody
that's where I found like 4 what's his face? The DC jazz guy.
Andrew White.
I found 4 Andrew White records there.
The other place to go, I want to go to Spin Time, which is DC specific artists. It's a guy who's been doing it for a while, but he's got a store that's just DC artists.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
I think CJ in May, if you're free, we should. When I go up and visit my mom, I should take you on all the places I go.
Let's. That sounds like a lot. That sounds like a lot of fun. That sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. And cool.
Yeah, because the difference between the West Coast and the East Coast is the booth style antique malls. They're better on the East Coast. And when you drive up, the cool thing about Mid-Atlantic is you could drive through 5 states in a reasonable amount of time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. and you find,
Not that I do that every week, but yes.
We should go to the one in College Park, which is a disaster zone.
Red Onion. Now you're talking. CD Depot's out. They're almost out of business. I think they may be out of business by now. Is that the one you're talking about?
They were open when I was there over Christmas.
They're. I saw an announcement in the last week or two that they're gonna shut down.
Well, they should.
Maybe we can visit.
I hope they're open and liquidating, because that jazz CD section, which I took pictures of and showed Chris, it's great. It's huge.
It's good, but it's a mess. It is completely
disgusting. It's like the guy gave up and he goes, "Hey, come around the counter. We have the choice records." And they were good titles, but they were disaster. They were not in great condition, and they were charging a certain amount of money.
I agree. I went back and looked behind there, and yeah, had something I was interested in. But
my number one choice, I ended up going to Maryland after my for a second degree.
Okay,
well, that was my number one choice because I grew up not far from there. College Park has gotten so much better, I think,
in terms of
just a lot there. It's a college town. It's a weird college town.
Yeah,
because it's DC. You're like a one metro stop from DC. But College Park, it's a college town. It's a huge university, and it had things that college towns have, but I think it's turned more into a college town.
It used to be, and I think it's evolved a little bit in that when I had friends that were there, the big party, the only party night was Thursday because everybody would go home on Friday night to go home. And now there's more desire to stick around.
But they did have a great Greek life. And if you ever saw St. Elmo's Fire, the scene where they're walking through the Greek Row, that's University of Maryland. It's Greek Row.
Huh, no shit.
I didn't realize that.
But it's a great campus, the main campus, but everything around it now is bigger. They have that weird only Chick-fil-A that serves pizza there, Little Blue, whatever.
That's a sign of status if I've ever heard of a status.
People go there. There was so much.
I believe you.
Yeah, and they build out the metro too. So now the metro goes all the way to Dulles Airport. That's crazy, but that's where a lot of people live.
1188 sounds like he might be from the DC area, given that he's laying out
lived there for a little bit of time. Yeah. But what about Baltimore? I don't know record stores in Baltimore. Are there any?
Well, the greatest band of all time is from Baltimore, Lungfish. Just so you know,
Soundgarden was the original location where they decided to have record store days. So that's a famous one. There's a store called Proteus. Yeah, that's been missed. That has no air conditioning, so there's certain times of the year you don't want to be there.
Yeah.
And then there's a really good heavy metal. I mean, I'm not into metal, but I've seen him have original Strata East up in Hamden, which is north of there. But he's the metal stuff and the punk stuff there is phenomenal. It's just amazing.
Well, and then when I drive up to my mom, I go through Frederick. There's a few good stores in Frederick. Then you go to Hagerstown.
Yeah.
Which, Hagerstown's famous for. The TV show My Name is Earl is based on Hagerstown. Because the guy went to Frostburg.
Than I do.
The guy who created My Name is Earl went to Frostburg State.
That's funny.
But when I drive up there, even my niece went to University or West Virginia University, which has nothing really
there. It's funny. He's just tracking where we're talking.
Red line. No, if you lived in Baltimore, this is what you have to say if you lived in Baltimore. Reisterstown. I lived in Reisterstown or Pikesville.
What do they call? What do they call the Baltimore Met? There's a little subway kind of like thing. It's above ground. I forget what it's called.
Well, actually, here's what's funny. I forget what movie.
Levin, come on, tell us.
There's a DC-based movie. It's a big movie where they go, we're getting on the metro. And they go down and they use the Baltimore Metro.
Yeah, because they couldn't get the rights. They could not get the rights.
They couldn't get the rights.
Yeah.
But the DC Metro is easy to ride. Yeah, it's great. It's easy to yeah. I mean, where I grew up, I could have taken the Metro all the way to where my parents divorced. My dad lived in Northern Virginia.
He's also talking about the light rail. That's what he's talking. Well, yeah, now that's what it's called. Now the Metro goes all the way out to Dulles too. You know that, right?
No, I just said that earlier. I know because my brother lives in Leesburg.
Okay.
There's a few record stores out there. I told you about the one that's in Leesburg. They had that
been there once.
Jeannie Lee record there.
Oh wow!
They have
which one?
Original Sun Ra there. That's where I picked up a bunch of cool records.
The one with the yellowish and orange cover.
Yeah, that they lost the tape.
That one, Dave.
That one. They lost the tape.
Well, I got WFMU.
What's the price? What's the price point on that?
300, 250.
It's a $300 record now.
Yeah, 300. But
I mean, pay up for it though.
I haven't gone. Like I've been to Richmond because I have friends there, and there's a few good record stores there in Richmond.
I had to pay up though on that one because it was at the fair and that Brooklyn Joe guy had it.
Yeah, that's a hard record to find.
Yeah, but it's mint, and it came with this crazy leaflet like order form thing, which is nuts.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
I at the CD Depot, I picked up a Mal Waldron Jeannie Lee CD there. They have one.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That shitty record store in College Park.
Yeah.
Good night.
It is so dirty. It is so dirty.
Oh, Shane. So when I went to VCU, they were really big. House of Freaks. They were MTV band. They were a guitar player and drummer. They were very similar to the Red Stripes, but about
White Stripes.
White Stripes.
Okay.
But about 10 years, maybe more, one of the members and their family were murdered. Like House Invasion, they murdered them.
Because they played up in Charlottesville. They played up in Charlottesville too.
Yeah, in the Fan. Oh, we used to have. It was the burgeoning Dave Matthews Band back in the day.
Yeah.
And because they were from Charlottesville. Did you remember the Connells used to play around there? Do you know the Connells?
I don't remember. I think I may be a little, or I think I may have been. I graduated in like 85. So
80 what?
85.
From where?
UVA.
Oh, I'm then you are older than me then.
Wow, you are old.
I'm not. Well, you stole our basketball coach, so that sucks. But yours left a great.
Well, no, you guys didn't get who you were looking for, did you? It looks like.
Well, they were trying to get Pacino Jr.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He was about to sign the paper, and then the whole thing, all those openings happened.
Yeah.
When the Putz, that guy, the Xavier Sean, what's his face? Sean, he was the coach at Arizona for a long time. Sean Miller.
Pittsburgh before that.
Sean Miller became big from being the coach of Xavier.
Yeah.
But he turned that job and went to Arizona for a long time.
Yeah, I remember that.
When we went to Salt Lake City to play in the NCAA, I stayed at the Marriott, which was the Arizona hotel, and I had my VCU gear on, and he got in the elevator and he goes, VCU, long travel for you. And I go, no, I'm in LA. We have over 3,000 alumni in Southern California from VCU.
Wow.
It's because of medical.
Yeah. Med school, the med schools. I used to.
Like he was like all arrogant. That fucker got fired from Arizona and went back to Xavier.
He got busted cheating. That's why.
3 years.
Well, now you can't. It's not hard to cheat anymore. It's really hard to cheat.
So you know who we got a good guy. So remember Phil Martinelli, who was the big St. Joseph's guy for 100 years. Right? Yeah. So he remember when I think Michigan, when what's his face was the coach, the ex-player. He was his assistant. So he got his son, and he brought all the gang, his brother and his father. They're all coming. So he coached Brian. He brought Brian to the NCAAs this year. So he's going to take all his players to VCU.
Brian out of Rhode Island?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got accepted there when I was applying for colleges. They had the New York Giants training camp there for a while.
VCU is a premier mid-major program. We have 20 years of over 20 wins. And most importantly, we have like $5 million in nil money to spend. So we could pay players.
And Shaka got you onto the map at the right time.
No, actually, it wasn't Shaka. You want to hear how it happened? So through the 80s, VCU was a top 10 team.
Okay.
They had this guy, Tubby Smith was an assistant coach. It was J.D. Barnett.
Okay.
He left to go to Tulsa. So after that, they brought in this guy, Mike Polio. No nothing more than a more appropriate name, Mike Polio. We went to one NIT when I was at VCU, and that was it. When I left, they brought in Sonny, the guy who coached Charles Barkley at Auburn, Sonny Smith. Sonny Smith brought on Capel, Jeff Capel, as his assistant.
Capel, that's right, Jeff Capel, yeah.
And he coached him up, and Sonny Smith retired. He built back up the program. And Jeff Capel took us to the NCAA, and we beat Duke in the first round. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I do remember that.
So Jeff Capel turned the VCU job and went to Oklahoma and coached Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
So when he left, Anthony, the guy who's the Dayton coach now, came in, and he took VCU to the NCAAs, turned that job into Alabama. And it was just a succession. Then Shaka replaced him, Anthony Grant. And Shaka stayed a long time. Shaka stayed 7 years.
Yeah.
And where'd he go? Texas?
Went to he went for the money.
Yeah.
And that's
but after him, we brought in Will Wade, who's a bastard, but he's the new head coach at NC State.
Yeah.
Or Shaka now, Marquette.
Yeah, and there was talk he was going to leave there, but he's from there, so he'll stay. And then we brought Mike, who was an assistant. Will Wade was an assistant for Shaka. Then we brought in this guy who went to Rice and turned Rice around. He went to Penn State. He was a fucker too. So it's a good place.
That's cool.
Leave, and they leave to make a lot of money. You know.
I don't know that I don't know that UVA is ever going to be relevant again. Though it's the NIL thing you can't figure out.
Odom grew up there. His dad was an assistant for Terry Holland. So
it's been hard. It's been hard. I mean, it's just to be very specific. It has always been a hard school to recruit African American people there. It's just been.
I'll tell you this. Here's what
you're just a few years removed from a title, though.
Here's what sucks about UVA. UVA basically is a private university, but it's a public school. You can't get into the school if you live in Virginia. You can't. You got to be out of state, or you got to go move to a rural area of Virginia.
You got to play lacrosse.
But here's the problem with UVA. And all my siblings went to Virginia Tech. I follow them for football. They're never going to be better than Virginia Tech in football.
Oh no, they're never. And only when George Welsh was there did they even have a chance at it.
Well, and here's the thing about Virginia Tech, or about Virginia. So about 30 years ago, you can tell me to shut up and end the stream. I'm going to leave in a second. But about 30 years ago, Old Dominion, which we call Ode or U, Old Dominion decided to bring back their football program. They had to raise $100 million to do it. The thought was all the best players for both basketball and football in the country come from that area of Virginia. Norfolk, Tidewater, Allen Iverson. You could go on a long list. So they go, well, just keep these players at home. And they very quickly went from whatever it was. They went up to Division I, but they haven't been able to do anything there. So, and then Liberty spends all the money.
Liberty's got money.
They got money.
They sponsor NASCAR,
my niece
for
went to
God's
Liberty.
sakes.
But Tech, you're never going to even Tech will get back. They were on the verge of being ranked all season this past year. Tech's good.
Everybody's just got to figure out the NIL thing.
Well, yeah, the problem with Virginia Tech is they don't have deep pocket donors.
Yeah.
It's not like UVA where people graduate UVA and are rich. They're doctors.
Yeah, but UVA people are hard to get money out of. They're definitely they are hard to get money out of, except for when it comes to a stadium, except for when it comes to an arena. Yeah,
but they're very clean.
Virginia Tech is a good party school.
VCU is a good big party school.
That's the first place I ever drank corn whiskey was Virginia Tech. So
I'm trying to remember the place we used to play up there.
Do you ever go tubing on the New River? It's one of the few rivers that flows south to north.
That's the one that's on the West Virginia border.
And okay, Blacksburg, where Virginia Tech is. You know what it's famous for? The movie Dirty Dancing. They filmed it there.
Oh no shit.
Yes. The whatever the place they were at. What's the name? It's there in Blacksburg. We stayed there. When my sister graduated, we had our party there.
Oh.
Yeah, they have a whole shrine to Dirty Dancing there.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been there since probably 95.
The first time I ever had moonshine was like fraternity brothers in Richmond. I had a fraternity brother. I had the best college experience ever. We had a frat house fraternity. We had the best parties. You joined a fraternity. When I went to VCU, only 7,000 people lived on campus. The school's kind of quadrupled in size since I left. But I had a fraternity brother, John Bogan. We call him the Antichrist. We get so drunk. He got so drunk he got out a lawnmower and drove it all the way downtown in Richmond. Got pulled over by cops. That guy was awesome.
Oh, that sounds like some Myrtle Beach shit.
Dude.
I'm gonna go ahead and thanks for including me tonight. My lungs are now dying. I gotta stop.
All right. Have a lovely evening. A lovely weekend, people.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.